Head into the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hi, my lovely mi amor Michelle.
Dave. Happy Saturday.
Oh, yes, happy Saturday.
We're all like swimming in here, literally.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, let's just go. Let's do it.
it.
Hi, B Crumbs. Hi, Mel Mac. Hi, Spicy Sugar. Hi, Rexy. Hi, Pink Dahlia. Hi, Carol Claus. Jane Doe.
Jake,
Yorkie. Hi, Samantha. Hi, little Kazati. Hi, Kentucky Lee. Hi, Ellie. Nonstop Mom. Look at some of my favorite people are here.
Mel
Hi,
Mac
Dee.
always loves the intro. I love it. I can always see when she's in here. She puts the best intro ever in caps. I
best
always know when
intro.
she's here.
Hi, Rainbow Mom. Hi, Angela. Hi, BR. Hi, BG. Rexy. I said Rexy. Hi, BG. Did I ever say hi to BG? I did say hi to BG. You know, that's how I roll. Hi, Petunia. Hi, Danielle. Peppermint tea.
Oh, hey,
Hi, Stacy. Hi, Glenjamin.
Hey, cool gamer.
Hi, RJ. Hi, Cool Gamer. Hi, True Colors.
Glenjamin's here. I think I'm lagging. Hold on.
Are you? Hi, Stacy. Oh, we got some fun.
Uh-oh.
Hi,
Hello.
Jen. I'm sorry that I was running late.
No, it's okay. Girls, I have a little tech question.
Oh,
Okay, so I have an iPad, and it's the first iPad I've ever had before, and I let it die.
okay.
And now, and it's like I had the Touch ID, and here it comes. Enter passcode. Touch ID requires your passcode when iPad restarts. I don't fucking know what the passcode is.
You
I have
didn't
no
set up the passcode when you set it up?
I don't think so. No, because Dr. B gave it to me. No, Dr. B gave it to me. So all I did was the touch screen, the Touch ID.
So ask Dr. B what the passcode is.
Better call
I already messaged her. I thought there might be a way to go around it without involving her.
Anybody knows in chat how to hack that thing for Jen? Let us know. That's too fun.
I'm trying to think. All I know is that when you set it up, you have to either enter a passcode or you skip it. And if you skip it, then you don't have a passcode. But if you enter a passcode, then you have a passcode.
Yeah, but I don't.
With your iPhone iCloud.
No, it's I wonder how can I? I bet I could log into my cloud. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, never mind. I didn't even realize we were live. I thought I was backstage just talking to you two hookers. So now everybody knows my technical issues.
The whole world now knows about your tech issues.
A little bit.
I didn't want to involve Dr. B because she gets busy and she's always having to fucking bail me out of shit like this.
It's okay. We just asked all 120 people in chat if they knew.
Try 1, 2, 3, 4 and see if it works.
No, because it's fucking 6. Watch it be. It's a 6-digit one.
It's a 6-digit. That's even more. Forget it. I can't remember my iPhone.
Oh, now I got the iPad unavailable. Try again in 1 minute. Fuck you, iPad.
Oh, you've entered the code too many times. Wrong.
Incorrect. Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. That part I knew.
If you continue to
iPad's
do
like,
it,
now
it's
you're
gonna
trying to
last
hack
like
me.
an hour.
No, I know. I'm not going to. This is what I don't understand. What's the point of me putting my finger on there at all?
I don't know. I don't set mine up like that. So
What?
I have a passcode.
So is it not looking
Yeah,
for
but I
Jen's
know
anymore?
myself. I would never have made it 6 digits because I can barely remember 4. I know 6 is out of my league. I'll figure it out. Anyway, what's going on? What are we talking? I mean, I know kind of what the show's supposed to be about, but you know.
Honestly, I'm just happy that you're here.
Yep. We needed this laugh. We sure did. I know I did.
So hopefully we have some of the other gals that'll be joining. I don't know if I haven't heard from Britt. Have you guys heard from Britt?
Uh-uh.
And I know Mal's been like in and out under the weather, so she's gonna try to come up.
Not feeling too good.
Thelma says try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I already tried, and that's what got me kicked out.
You need a teenager. Are any kids home?
But I mean, you have to set up the password when you set up the iPad.
Teresa, you can keep telling me that.
Okay, hold on. Did you ever have an iPhone?
No.
You've never had an iPhone either.
No.
So I'm trying to think of like how it would be.
Well, if Dr. B gave it to her, did Dr. B set it up before giving it to you? Or did she like gift it to you? How did this happen?
No, it was already set up. It's her old iPad.
Okay. Then
So
that's
I'll
fine.
just,
Yeah,
it's probably got to be her code because I didn't set it up. And now I'll just be patient because today I decided for no reason, I'm going to start monkeying around with iPad.
You decided to.
iMovie. Because I've been getting bored sometimes and I decide to redo my intro every now and then and because I learn new things. And so I decided to spice it up and I was like, hey, I wonder if I can spice it up even more and use my iPad to use iMovie. And then I was like, no, it's freaking dead. So then I plug it in and then they be giving me this baloney. Talking about you let that shit die, lady. It's your own fucking fault.
I don't think you're supposed to have. I don't think you're supposed to have an iPad. Hey NorCal. Hi everybody that's come in. I know there's so many people that popped in during all this tech. We need a tech person. I've already escalated the call to my manager, who is Dr. B. And I know I know she's gonna be mad at me. Not really, but she's just I can hear her wherever she is when she hears this, rolling her eyes like, girl, get your life straight. You know it was my passcode.
I know.
That's what she's gonna be like. You knew that already. Why'd you freak out? Just wait. Just message me, girl.
I know. She's gonna be like, what you mean, hey? Like she always says, what you mean, hey? Don't panic. It's fine. I just thought maybe I could go to my Apple ID and find it there, but I can't. It's not listed because I don't think I set it up. That's why. Anywho.
I've had my phone, I think, for 3 years and it's still not set up. It's a mess.
My iPad got confiscated by my 6-year-old.
Hey, Sunset. Sherry. LB.
So it's got a passcode on it, but now he just uses it. So he just has my passcode. And so if somebody be like, what's your number? Then he like knows it. So he's like, that's my pin. And I'm like, no, that's my pin. That's my.
See, I never would have used 6 digits ever because that's way too complicated.
It is.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do 6 digits either.
That's too much for my brain. I got too much true crime knowledge in here and all of that. So I'm not going to touch it no more. I'm not going to look at it anymore and put it away from my body, away from my field of vision, because it's going to bug me until I can figure it out. And
it's already told you no anyway. It's locked you out for a little while. It's like, listen, put me down.
Just for a minute. I wonder what the next time out will be.
Make sure you have Dr. B for the next one.
I'll just wait.
So you have an Android for a phone then?
Yes.
That's smart. Okay. That's what I have. I just got a new phone. I just upgraded, and
yeah,
the shit kicked me out of every single like app I ever use. So I had to re-sign into everything. And I'm one of those that has a different password for every single thing, but I don't write them down. So I don't remember them.
I have to.
Listen, I'll tell y'all right now, if I wrote that shit down, that'd be great. But guess what? I would forget where the hell I wrote it down at. So it's really not going to do me any ID.
I do extra complicated ones that I would never remember anyway, and then I still write them down, and then I don't find them neither, and somebody else is going to find it one day and have access to my entire life. And
well, I mean, I just don't understand what the touch thing is for. Then I used that so I wouldn't have to remember a PIN, and I mean, obviously, if it can pick up your fucking fingerprint, it can pick up the fact that I'm not dead. It's not like they're using something that's below temperature. You know what I'm saying?
Like mine does Face ID now, but that forced that update. One. And my daughter does the thumbprint. It didn't force her phone to do the update. We both had the same iPhone. It'll give me the option to do the 6-digit, but that's only if it doesn't pick up, I guess, the facial recognition, which is crazy by itself for me.
Okay, well, all right. So what are we talking about? We're talking about Stalk and Valo, yes?
Hell yeah.
I'm tired of Leticia Stalk.
Me too. Over her.
How do you go from these loving moms? Well, I don't know about Leticia being a loving mom, but everybody around Lori said that Lori was a fantastic mother.
I think what happened with Lori is, and now I don't know where she went to do this, but I do believe that Lori was researching Mormon history, and she may have found some things that intrigued her. And then Chad was researching that same, or researching Mormon history. And I think it was just the fates aligned in a very unfortunate way for both of them.
Sure.
That's what I think. But I don't know. Leticia is something else, though. But I did think about something today with respect to the other day, Thursday, because they didn't have court Friday. So Thursday's testimony, with David Warwick. And I feel like listening to him testify, he was never buying into any of what Chad and Lori were selling. And I feel reasonably confident that he's the one who pulled Melanie Gibb back. You know what I mean? Because I think if he hadn't have done it, I think she would have kept on lying for Lori and Chad about where JJ was. That's what I think.
Well, I find it interesting that one of the best parts that Archibald did on Cross with David was the fact that he was talking to him about all the crazy dreams and the beliefs that he had himself.
Yes.
I thought it was a very good cross.
I thought he did good too.
And I was thinking that after this week out, because before this week I was saying that I thought Pryor might be a better attorney. But I thought Archibald did a really good job. He made some really good points when he was talking with David, and caught David up in quite a few things. And what I'm noticing is everybody saying Alex totally believed in everything. Alex believed in everything that Lori and Chad were trying to sell. But when asked if they believed, Zulema, Melanie Gibb, all are like, we didn't fully believe. But the other people who testify, like the old co-worker of Lori's from Hawaii, testified that she went to lunch with Melanie, and she was like, yep, Melanie totally believed. So the people around Zulema and the others are just like they are with Alex. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I thought that Archibald did a good job proving that when David was on the stand, was like, Melanie did believe, because otherwise why would David have to pull her back if she didn't?
Well, obviously Melanie believed, because David had a nightmare in the middle of the damn night, and she went looking all over the house for Chad and Lori, and she called and texted them. So you're telling me you don't believe in any of what they're selling, but you think, so why would you want a blessing from Chad? How's that going to help?
There you go, Jen. Yeah.
in the middle of the night.
Well, I think she totally believed. So
She absolutely did believe. She's just a lying. She's another one, man. I don't have patience for.
This is a good question. Do you all think that Lori would have been okay if she had never met Chad, or do you think that the crazy would have still come out?
It would have still come out because it was already coming out before. Just so y'all know, that is my neighbor's dog, not mine. Screeching back there. No, because I think she would have gone crazy anyways, because she already was. Because when Charles was on the body cam footage with the police, they were asking him when she started, her belief system started to change, and it was like 1 or 2 years before she ever even met Chad Daybell, Peter Griffin.
Oh, I can't. Okay, so that he called him Peter Griffin is like one of the best things ever.
He does look like Peter Griffin.
It is.
He really does.
But like Peter, at least Peter says funny stuff. Peter has a good sense of humor, and he's not evil. Okay, so yes, looks wise, yes, he looks like Peter Griffin. But personality wise, Peter Griffin is greater than Chad Daybell.
I need to come and rescue that puppy.
They put, I think he or she is on their, like, they have a Florida room too. It's enclosed, and I think that they put him or her on in there, and clearly he or she is very disgruntled. I'd hop that fence and go get that puppy.
Yeah, I kind of want to just take the puppy.
Right, like obviously he or she is struggling and needs inside, so let them inside.
That poor baby.
Is the neighbor's dog in your house?
I agree that I think Lori was already turning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she was doing all this research and whatnot. I think the extremism came when her and Chad got together. I think they were both like living on the edge, and then together they just went like full force.
I think they fed into each other's separate yet shared delusion.
Yep. And then
that's what I think
just happened together.
Mm-hmm.
Because they justified so much of that evil. They justified so much of the evil. The thoughts then could become actions, because now you actually have a hype man next to you. You have somebody next to you, extra, influencing you, letting you know, hey, no, this is it. This is it. They're a demon or a zombie or whatever.
And I kind of wonder about Lori. She's a very pretty lady. Nobody can take that. I mean, bless her heart, she's aged like milk now, and I mean, bless your heart for her in the Southern way. Not like legitimately bless her heart. But
she said age like milk
in the Southern way, which means F you. She was a very, very beautiful woman at one point, but I suspect that she was very, very insecure. And so I think that, I think that when Charles might have said, "You're my goddess," but then here comes Chad talking about you're an actual goddess to the whole entire world. And I feel like that, filled her head a little bit.
I would definitely did. It
plus,
all her weird gaps were filled.
Plus, I think Chad, she knew that basically Chad, she was way out of Chad's leagues, and looks, let's be honest. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean,
I agree.
I've seen pictures of Chad when he was younger. I think he was born with a dad bod. Honestly.
He was born with a dad bod?
Yeah, I think he always had a dad bod, even before he was a dad. And, Charles was like in shape, and normally I wouldn't be that shallow to talk about looks, because looks fade, as we all know. Look at Lori now, aging like milk, right? But Chad doesn't even have a good personality. I have never heard him say anything remotely witty or funny. Yeah. Not even close.
No. I don't know much about the case, but I'm starting to learn the personalities, and I could not agree more. I don't even know what in the world, like, just as a woman in her right mind, I don't know what was going on over there, but I don't know how she saw that as.
I don't either. And no, And like Chad could be talking about the most interesting subject in the world, and I feel like he would still bore me to sleep.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, he had a big shot right there on that Feel the Fire podcast, right? And he's answering the lamest questions. Now, to be fair, Lori did ask some pretty lame questions, and I don't know what Melanie asked because I couldn't understand her since she was eating the microphone. But yeah. And then here's Lori. So, Chad, what was Jesus wearing? Fuck off.
I think my personal opinion is that because she was already teetering on this edge and she was doing all this research. So this was kind of the world that she was starting to live in. And in this little mini world, Chad was like top tier. He was, he was important in this community. And I kind of compared it to like you go to a rock concert because you're a huge, rock fan. And the singer's like 60 now because they were huge in the 80s, but you still find him incredibly sexy and whatever else because he's top of whatever, your community of people. And so that becomes attractive, even though the dude is not attractive at all or is just odd. I mean, he's a rock band, but it's much cooler than a preparing of the people. But that's where her mind was.
Well, this became her obsession and her passion for life or whatever. So when she meets somebody that is like God of that, king of that, or whatever, like she's like, oh my goodness, like I don't even think looks even mattered at that point, especially the mission she was on. She needed that, and like you said, he was top dog in their world of that. So
I still don't get it though, you guys, because look, I've had a crush on Nikki Sixx since I was in 5th grade. Okay, for reals. And I'm telling you right now, if in the next 5 minutes Nikki Sixx came and showed up on my doorstep, of course I would open the door. But let me tell you this, if he said that my kids were zombies and they had to go, Nikki Sixx would be going. I don't give a rat's fat kneecap. And that's what I can't get behind.
I think that the difference would be if Nikki Sixx showed up and said that your kid needed to be like doing all the, the cool drugs that the rockers did back in the day, because you got to kind of compare it to what the
I would still have to say you're lovely to look at, and I really wish you hadn't opened your mouth because now I got to close the door.
But
you're not in that headspace neither. You're a normal mom, we'll say.
That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
This is her world at the moment. Everything is about this. She's trying to get Charles into it. She's trying to get the kids into it, into just the religious side of things. And then, Lori, yes, we will definitely talk about Letitia. Yeah, absolutely. It's just going to be a little bit of both. I have zero structure for this live. It's just, it is what it is.
She had me up. You guys think there's going to be any kind of structure? Even if there was structure, do I come off as any type of structure at all, ever?
Honestly, my thought was I've had a really shitty weekend, so I was just like, you know what? I just want to do something that's. I've still been trying to pay attention to all the trials, and I just want to hang out and talk shit about these people and do it with my friends. That's really what I wanted to try to end my week on a better note. For anybody who doesn't, I haven't told this yet. Like yesterday, a freaking lady ran into my car. So smashed the whole front of my car.
Let's find her. Oh no! No.
I know where she is. I know. I now know her, but
let's see that she is punished to the fullest extent of the law.
It's just one of those weeks where nothing tremendously bad has happened, but just a ton of bullshit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I have nothing really bad has happened to me, but it's just like, man, just like one hit after another. It's like I quit.
It's another thing on the list that you got to take care of at some point, and just another in your week.
Yeah, heaps of bullshit. Yeah, who needs that? I feel you.
Right. So I'm like, I just want to chill. I just want to hang out and just talk shit about Lori and Letitia and what pieces of crap I believe them to be. And so here we are. There's really no structure. This is kind of just a whatever is a whatever. If you got something you want to say, let me know and just say it. You know what I mean? Like
okay. It
isn't. I have no rhyme or reason. The only major thing I want to make sure that we do cover when we talk about Letitia is the Google searches that came out yesterday. The deleted Google searches that we did not know about, and they were not in the probable cause. So, NorCal Jim, is it really a new moon? Is that like a thing? Is that how this is? Is that a thing? Am I like in a new moon and or the moons are not aligned or some bullshit? And that's why, adulting really sucks. Because I was like, I don't really have time to deal with insurance companies and write all this out. And I mean, the car it's drivable. It just looks like shit. Oh, I could probably show you. Here, I'll show you a picture. Let me pull it up. But I was taking my littlest to school, so it was like 7:40 in the morning, and I'm like, seriously, this is how my day's gonna start. This is how my week's gonna end. Like this is just not working out very well.
Oh, it's fine. Hey, Ramblin'.
And then of course she hit me. So here's the best part of it is she we were at a yield, so she was in front of me at the yield sign, and turn my camera on so I can kind of explain it. So we're at the yield. So she's in front of me and she's gonna turn left and I'm gonna turn right. So I'm kind of like this, like, but she stops a little bit further out and there's a car coming on the cross street right there. So she thinks that she's too far out and decides to just put her car in reverse and back up. And she just goes,
oh boy,
smashes the front of my car.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then my little one, Jeremy, he's just like, I'm going to be late for school. I don't want to be late for school. I don't want to be late for school.
I love that little boy.
Like, oh my God.
Aww.
I know,
So responsible.
Yes, very, because then you got to go to the office and you got to get the slip and then you got to walk into class and everybody looks at you.
It's true.
It was just a stupid move on her part because I'm like, what? Why are you putting your car in reverse? Like, if you're so far out there, that means that you have the right of way, and that other car is going to end up slowing down for you. This is a yield. It's not a stop sign.
Right.
So, this is just dumb at this point. Here, I'll show you.
Okay. Let me look. Ah.
Hey, Thistle. Hey, sweet Caroline.
There you go.
I forgot who asked in the chat, but just so everybody knows, yes, the Feel the Fire podcast is still up. Just put that right into the Google, and you can hear it all.
Oh, yeah, it's still up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, here's the other one. There you
go. Uh-oh. Oh, man.
Freaking ridiculous. I'm like, that car had never been touched. It's never, not even a little scratch on it. It's in pristine condition. And I'm like, you seriously?
Seriously terrible.
Was that tire affected too much, T?
No, it's not actually, ironically.
Oh my God. It almost took off that whole rim on that side, but that covers the tire.
Yeah. Oh, then you want to see? I don't know if I can show hers because I think her license plate might be in it. Mine's not. I won't show her. Let me just tell you, hers is not anything compared to mine. And I'm like, of course.
Hey, me. Hey, Corey. Hey, little Kaza.
That's at least.
Did you guys listen to the enhanced audio call? It's at least what?
7 to 10K worth of damage.
7 to K.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. What did you guys listen to? Good. That's good.
The enhanced call from Colby.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he listened to my live.
I feel like he listened to all of ours because me and Allie were complaining about the same thing.
And I'm like, I can download this. I'm like, but Nate asked me not to. Like, he asked me personally. That's how I was like, asked me.
Well, he said on one of his last ones that he was going to try and do it, and then he asked the other reporter or whatever, and then it was uploaded to the Facebook first. I know that's how I saw it.
I do. I feel really bad for Colby. So no, I have not actually listened to it. Should we listen to it?
I mean, we can.
Is it better? Is it worth it?
It's better, but it's still. I feel like Christine could fix that puppy way better, frankly, if I'm being just 100%. Because also, I will say this. What I didn't realize the first go around that I now realize since it's been enhanced is it's not an actual phone call. It's a video call.
No, it's the Zoom. She's in jail.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still make phone calls. Jails have phones.
No, but it's that Zoom meeting.
Yes, I know. But I didn't realize that when in the moment when we were listening to it. because they said jail call. I think when I think of a jail call, I think, you get your one phone call, and then after that you got to get a prepaid card or whatever it is. That's what I thought it was. So I think that explains partially why the audio is the way that it is. But I still think that Christine could fix it better.
A recording that's in court that's now being recorded. So it's a recording of the Zoom, and then it's the recording or whatever, the web, whatever, however they communicate.
Well, that's true. It's a recording of a recording. So it's like taking a screenshot of a screenshot.
Right. So it's like the quality just keeps getting less and less. But I do agree that Christine could do a better job, regardless, because she's got her skills. But I feel
she does
terrible.
Fix stuff.
It sucks though, because I know that there's a lot of people who aren't, they're not Colby fans to begin with, and then Colby's he's now got the whole, attempted or alleged sexual assault of his wife, but the charges got dropped. But I mean, he's got a mugshot that's out there, so I don't know. That kid's only 27. I mean, he's not a kid, but I'm just like, damn, he's had some shit for real.
I was impressed with how he confronted Lori, though. And I'm wondering how much longer it's going to be before there some audio like that is released between Leticia and Harley.
You think that's kind of the relationship between Colby and Lori?
I don't know about that part, but I definitely think, like what Jen's saying, that there's going to be some type of audio in the future down the line released in this way, and we're going to get to hear the little giblets, I guess, of the real inside of their relationship.
Yeah, I think someday. I don't think they had the same. I think that Leticia and Lori are very, very similar, but and both lethal and both dangerous.
Yes,
they're both highly, highly manipulative. It's just the way that they do it is different.
Yes,
Leticia is more all up in your face, loud, and obnoxious about it. Where Lori is more like, well, I'm really sorry, Mel, that you're mad at me, but I still love you. And I just feel like you're being really controversial with me right now. Right? And she stays so calm and she keeps that sweet voice. I see right through it.
Yeah.
But that's intentional. Yeah. Because then you're thinking, well, how crazy can she be? She's super calm. She's not even yelling. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Then you almost question yourself, not me. If I'm confronting somebody, it's because I have evidence. I have enough evidence that I could take it to a court of law. That's how, when I confront, it's over.
You already have the answers at that point. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Because nobody goes in that way. You don't have to go into something half-assed that way. Well,
unless you're Melanie Gibb. Unless you're Melanie Gibb, who's out here being McGruff the crime dog, saying, I made that call so that I could find out where JJ was. Really, Melanie? If that's the case, then how come it is when you asked Lori where JJ was, why did you give her a multiple choice option? You didn't even pause for 3 seconds to let her answer. You just gave her 3 options to choose from. Yeah. So no, sit down, McGruff. That's not why you did it. You got her ass on tape because you knew you had your butt in a sling. You knew that they could get you for potentially obstructing justice, and that was the problem. That's why you did it. Don't sit up here and lie right now, lady.
Well, I think that this is where the David part steps in, and I think that David is the reason he does the call, because he's like, you don't understand what's going to happen to you if you get caught in this and there is something bad going on. I think she was absolutely going to lie for Lori and had no problem lying for Lori. I don't think it was an issue.
I don't think it was either. I think David is the one that stepped in and was like, oh, hell no. You want to get an obstruction of justice charge? Because that's how you get an obstruction of justice charge.
Yep.
Well, because originally in Melanie's very first statement, she says that she saw JJ on the morning of the 23rd before she left. And then it changed to that she saw him on the 22nd at night.
Right. And
I think she had no problem lying for Lori. And I think somebody asked earlier if Melanie got immunity, and it was always speculated that Melanie had gotten some type of immunity. But the fact that she took the stand and nobody asked her and nobody brought it up, and now I don't believe that she did. But then somebody else mentioned too that they're probably not quite done with the whole gang of them in Arizona. And because these charges are for Tylee, JJ, and Tammy, I don't believe that they're going to be using like. So Zulema got something. I'm kind of confused on what she actually got.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to that. Do you know, like, because they talk about.
No, I'm just as confused as you are, Teresa. I don't understand what her deal is.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
I don't get it.
Partial. Yeah, it's like something. It's something very different than I've ever heard. But I don't know if that actually will do any good for her in Arizona or what it covers. So I was going to go back and re-listen to that. I just honestly haven't had the time because I'm like, there's something off with what she was offered, and why would Melanie not have the same type of offer that she does?
Right.
In my opinion, MG and DW are liars from Liarsville. Like they're.
Yes, they are. They are the mayor of Liarstown. They are.
So are you what do you think of Zulema?
Well,
hi Marshall.
I find it interesting that she doesn't remember her wedding date.
Right.
I also find it very interesting that even on direct, she's real fuzzy about any kind of conversations about marriage or even the proposal, any of it. It's all very, this is her speech pattern and it really drives me crazy. It was, blah 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 blah. That's the whole time. That's all I could hear. It's all she said was then something, then then something, then something again. It was so annoying. I couldn't do it. It took me 3 tries to get through Zulema.
Her testimony was that she was hard to understand, especially if you don't already know what's going on.
Well, I've never seen a trial where so many people are called as witnesses who don't remember shit. Well, what are you calling them for?
Crazy Frank.
They don't know anything. They don't know. They don't show. They can't remember. You know, Melanie's on the stand counting out the months. Let's see what comes. Let's see, August, September, October, November. I mean, you know, I thought she was going to bust out singing the days of the week song. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then I waited for her to go, holy cow. But she didn't. That was a letdown.
Well, I found it interesting that she couldn't remember the date of her wedding. And then she talks about because of all the trauma around it. And then he directly asked her, like, what trauma? And then she takes a minute and doesn't say anything. And then she brings up December 12th when Alex dies.
Right.
So she remembers all the details around Alex dying, which is what she's saying is the trauma.
Correct.
I was like, you were lying.
Correct. There's something there. And I have a feeling the state knows about it because they danced around it too. Because this is not what this trial is about. Do you know what I mean? But the defense, of course, they have to go in, and that's really what they had. But yeah. Zulema, I was also all of them. I'll say one thing that they all have in common. Zulema, Melanie, and David. They all answer a question with a question.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if I would put it quite like that. Well, then how the fuck would you put it? It's an open-ended question. Just answer I wanted to do you know how many times Alice is so done with me, you guys? Okay? Because I was listening to David and he was like mealy mouthing around and I was just like, just answer the fucking question. Like the devil came out of me. Because I was so done. Just answer it. I had enough. And then we have Letitia over here who talks for 10 hours and never says shit.
Oh my gosh. I have
Never
uploaded every one of those fucking calls. Sorry for my bad language. I have uploaded every one of those calls. So I listened to them while they were being played, and then I had to listen to them again to make sure that the quality was okay. And I'm like, I don't even know what is happening to my brain. And then I was watching Crime Curious, and Crime Curious was like, she made a statement. It wasn't even to me, but I took it really to heart. She said, like, anybody who listens to those calls, like, you have to like really make sure that you're like taking care of your mental health. And I'm like, I'm listening to them for the second time. This is so bad.
Me too. I listened to them twice and I didn't even record them. I just listened twice because there were, when you hear something once but you don't want to, you're like, did she just say what I thought she just said? But you're like, you don't really want to rewind it. So you just listen over again because you want to make sure you get the full context. That was me on several things. I have regrets. I'm not even gonna lie. I should not have did that. That was not all it did was make me rage, like for reals. She was so infuriating the entire time. I don't think I was telling everybody yesterday on Alley's that listening to Leticia is like watching Dahlia DiPolito, Jodi Arias, and Stephanie Lazarus all rolled up into one personality.
And
still, Leticia, you only have one personality. Stop playing with these people out here. You do not have DID.
Yeah, no, for me, they have already completely ironed that all the way the hell out. And that happened. I thought it happened. And then, excuse me, Agent Grusing took the stand and all that was played. And
that was even worse. It was so bad.
Those lies were terrible, but
disgusting, terrible human being that I'm sorry should possibly maybe get ran over by a car one day, then back up on and maybe somewhere else.
I'm telling you, the only way that kind of evil can be destroyed is if she's thrown in the fires of Mount Doom.
Seriously. Yeah. No, I'll take that. That's way better than what I was thinking.
Like Sauron.
Yeah. Like I get physically mad when I watch, like it's not mad, it's angry. It's like, I'm not kidding. My eyes start twitching, like things start happening. I'm not nice to people for the rest of the day. I'm just like, you know what? You just like, get her out of my life. Like get her out of my life.
Leticia's evil is like the nothing. It just spreads.
Yes. Vicious. And just the constant bullshit and the constant just, she demands respect. She demands compassion. She demands understanding. And she also friggin' demands that you even attempt to believe this bullshit coming out of her mouth that she knows now, especially more than ever in this interview, is not flying. You're caught. This is what it is. He's now that poor soul. And I felt bad for the rest of them. No, I feel really bad for this guy. Thank God he's trained for this because
he is.
Taking that home with you.
I do too. He reminds me of. He sounds like Randy Travis, but he's way better looking.
Yeah.
Than Randy was.
Randy's
and the judge is over her. He heard that, and that was he's heard enough, I'm sure. But I feel like just like us, Agent Grusing did it for him. I've never seen a judge take more notes. Faces. He had to take his glasses off because it looked like he was starting to sweat because he probably wanted to reach across the damn table. Like, yeah.
First of all, let's just start from the very beginning, okay? When she doesn't know what she's been arrested for.
Yeah.
Okay, Leticia, you're really going to start the second one off on some bullshit. You know exactly what you were arrested for because they told you when they put them cuffs on you, ma'am.
Yeah.
They have to. That's part of the deal.
And you know everything that they have that you're questioning now because you've made up every story to attempt to align to all that evidence. You know what I mean? So the whole, I don't know what's happening. Oh, you very much know what's happening.
Well, I do think that a lot of the reason she spoke to the agent was because she was on a fact-finding mission. She had an idea of some of the evidence they may have against her, but not all of it. And that's really why she entertained him. And he knew it.
That's the only reason why she entertained anybody in this, or even those calls without anything. All that was just fishing for the evidence and just wanting to know what she should do next to fix what she now realizes either caught or she, whatever, like the mix-up started happening. And that's why I feel like she took that evidence with her. She took some evidence with her in case she had to plant it.
But see here,
whatever.
Yeah. But see, here's where the tricky part is. Okay. So if I'm understanding, and I've read this statute like 11 billion times, I think I have it now. The not guilty by reason of insanity only covers the actual crime, the actual murder. So when Dr. Lewis gets up there and testifies that she was insane, that would mean that Letitia had to tell her what she did, and she would have to know how long of a time period it was. Otherwise, how would she even begin? There were multiple acts committed, and there was an overnight in between.
Yep. She's trying hard to build her own timeline there. She sure is.
How long does psychosis last? And then by the time you're around your husband and your daughter and your stepdaughter and the people at Petco who, look, if you were having a psychotic break, now in Florida, you might just get a side eye, okay? But I imagine in Colorado, somebody would call somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of somebody being able to get out of a psychotic break without help with trained personnel.
Why is she sitting there telling him like, oh, you're trying to tell me that Gannon was murdered?
How dare you say that? How could you
say
that? How could you say
that?
I'm a mother. I'm a mother. Like, I would never say that.
How about when she told him bad things might happen in your house, but they don't happen in mine? Bet your Gannon's walls are covered in blood. What are you talking about? Bad things don't happen.
No, she was like in denial about it. She's like, no, that's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then she says, then she, the other thing she said that really, then she admits that she was essentially gaslighting Al on those phone calls. I said what I said to him because I was angry with him.
Yep. Just more of her manipulation right there and trying to backtrack out of something, just like with the blood around the house. Well, Gannon's just like that. If he gets hurt, he'll just grab a paper towel, he'll wrap it around something, and before you know it, blood's dripped everywhere. Oh, that's convenient.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, like that's
not enough. Okay, so let me say this. So Gannon's had 11 billion accidents, and each time it just adds to the already stained carpeting. He conveniently bleeds the same place every single time, so now you have a cumulative stain. Letitia,
no,
Dr. T.
Those don't matter. That's not true. That's not how it was. There is no stain. And if there is this pool of blood, you screwed up the crime scene because you let all these people in there. So if what you're telling me is the truth, see, Letitia's worst enemy is Letitia, to be honest.
Correct.
She does not shut her fucking mouth to say
no. She thought she was going to outsmart that FBI agent, which was, if the subject matter hadn't been so disgusting, would have actually been funny. But we're talking about an 11-year-old little boy here.
Right. But I mean, she talks like she is a child. And she's just like, I didn't take that cookie. If somebody took that cookie, you must have let somebody else in the house to take that cookie. No matter what, she doesn't make any sense.
Right.
That's why she has to control the conversation. She has to control the narrative. When you're asking someone of authority to answer your questions and demand respect and things like that, again, it goes back to her teenage built-in personality that she picks out of her ass whenever it's convenient for her.
That and then she says, "Done." I'm trying to help you." Yep. As if she's the one running things. I was like,
How Landon can listen to that and not like lose her mind, knowing that she's basically holding Gannon for ransom at this point. I don't even know what it, like, just for the information. Like, it's been a month now at this point. I cannot imagine what the family, especially Landon, was going through at this point. I just can't. I can't. Al knew probably more than Landon because he dealt with Leticia directly. But now her sitting in court, I personally believe that
only thing that's keeping Landon glued in her seat is the fact that Leticia would enjoy it too much if she hopped over that rail and just commenced to what, you know what I mean?
She's not going to destroy anything for her baby's justice now. Not at all. I agree, Jen.
I don't know. It's tough because I think that if she feels like she could get a good shot, it might be worth it just for the thought that you might feel better. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's too early in the trial for all that.
True.
She doesn't want to be. If she does it now, she'll be removed from the court for the rest of the trial.
Okay, so what about this? What about pregnant cash lady? The pregnant lady.
What about pregnant Leticia?
Well, we already knew that. So I guess that one's not so surprising because she had already told people on social media that she was pregnant. So that had already been going around. And then, well, she tells Al that on the phone too. She was like, I think she was 4 or 5 weeks when she was talking to Al on the phone. So, I mean, at least she figured out the timing because that was, middle of February and now she's being arrested. So I guess she's, 5 weeks pregnant. Now she's 8 weeks pregnant. So she's tracking her fake pregnancy pretty well.
Mm-hmm. This is the worst story she's come out with, in my opinion. Like the most cockamamie, like just, I don't even know where this could even possibly, even in her bubble brain, even pop up. I just, and she talks to people and is very offended when it's just not believed. Like no matter how crazy, like her level of ignorance and just, it gets me. It gets me too much.
So I have the list of all the things that he talks to her about her Googling, which most of this is not what we were told. Some of it is like the whole, like I do all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help. That kind of stuff we really knew about. So we knew that there was this major hatred for Landon, but that she really talks about how much she doesn't actually like Gannon. And she tries to overcompensate in these interviews about how much that he was actually her favorite. See, she had a better relationship with Gannon than she did with Lena. And then she makes a comment that really bothered me. It like stuck to me. She said that Gannon would have done anything to make sure I was happy. And I'm like, that's because he was so fucking scared of you.
Yeah. As I was saying, like on the last slide,
you weren't happy.
They had their own relationship for when Al was not around.
Right.
Gannon would do anything to. It's not even about pleasing her at this point. He doesn't know what this psychotic lunatic is going to do to him because he's dealt with her level of punishment already. Both when Al's around, he knows it's different. The line's here. Right. And then when Al's not around, the line's friggin' here and anything could happen to him. Like, so yeah, he's going to be nice to you. He'll go run and take the garbage out for you. He'll want to tend to your every need. He's petrified of you. He doesn't want to pick you up.
That's literally why it stuck to me. I was like, that is...
You evil bitch.
He would do anything to make sure I was happy, more than Al would. And I'm like, because Al's not scared of you, you flipping nightmare. So I leave it to Bieber. Hi Riddler. Hi Jordan. I know there's all kinds of people coming in. Hi everybody popping in.
I think that goes to show even more that she looks at Gannon, like how Al said, that she looks at Gannon like Al. And when Al's not around, Gannon took the brunt of not just being the child of Al's, but being Al not being a great husband, in her opinion.
So she lies multiple times, according to what we know about the pregnancies. We don't know she was ever not pregnant with twins, but I don't know if she. I don't know what I would assume it was probably a lie, but we don't know that for sure. And then nobody pays any attention to her saying that she's pregnant. Al ignores it on the phone calls. The agent ignores it in the interview. Nobody even acknowledges it. But she's going to have a medical exam that it's going to come out whether she's pregnant or not, because they have to make sure that she's got the medical care when she's in prison. Yeah. Like, that's a lie that people are going to know you're telling.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
A lot of times you notice they all run to the whole pregnancy thing when they have nothing else left. It's just, I'm pregnant now. So that falls under a couple different things. Al has to still love me some way, somehow. You know, you're going to have to be connected to me now forever, whether it's true or not. Well, now nobody can lay their hands on me because, at this point she's worried about getting her ass kicked, and she should. Yeah, that's where all the pregnancy came in, and thinking she was going to get a ton of leniency with law enforcement, breaks to go to the bathroom, to go make up more stories and things like that. She's just so obvious.
What do you think of this? The blood is spurting from an arterial bleed and direct pressure is not controlling the bleed.
Well, first of all, direct pressure won't control an arterial bleed. It's an artery. You need to call 911 and get the person into a hospital because they need surgery.
So what's happening? Who's putting pressure on it while she's Googling it is my question. Like, where does that come from? And I wish we had some dates for these searches because I think that would be really important. If that search is done on the 27th or the 26th, that would, I mean, is it a search? Because I'll be really honest with you. Now I have that search on my phone from April 21st, 2023, because I wanted to see what she would have saw if she Googled it. You know what I mean? So I Googled it yesterday, like, wait a minute, what would that be? We don't know. We don't know when this was actually searched. But I don't like my stepson. Don't think it matters. I don't like my stepson. Should I get a divorce? Al Stout cheating, I thought was interesting. Like, she could Google that, and it's just gonna pop up like that Al Stout is cheating. What?
That one was a little baffling. Now I think that there's possible that.
You're all over. You've gone. Are these in front? We don't know. These are just the ones that he said. These are just the searches that he said while he was talking to her. So it's just a list of those searches. I have no idea times. He doesn't say times. Not that I caught. If you guys caught times, let me know.
No, he doesn't. I don't remember saying anything.
He doesn't. None of these people say any of the
Can't hear you, Jen.
Oh, shit.
Jen, you're there, but you're like really faded.
You're like 40 miles away.
Is that better?
Good. You caught them all.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I don't know what I did. All right, well. Now I got to fuck around and figure this thing out. This is going to make me so mad. You okay? Oh, I'm all right? Okay, good.
You're good.
All right. Lord, what a mess. I wish they would say when timing on some of these does matter. I mean,
well, for sure.
But I can't figure out this arterial bleed. I think perhaps she was going to try to come up with a lie. Mm-hmm. That he cut himself. Mm-hmm. And that she tried to help him. Because there's no recovering. I mean, you have to have medical intervention.
I would like to know if it was that day. If that search was that day. So, I put in the request, the core request, but they won't give me anything until trial's over. So I'm hoping that I can get some more clarity once we can actually see some of this in the discovery.
Well, this is what I would think. What we've learned from other cases is that frequently when they subpoena the records from a phone, or when they do the, what do you call that thing? The, what's that called? The Cellbrite, when they do the dump, they do it within certain dates. They set the parameters. So I would imagine that the parameters they set to recover these searches had to have been close to maybe 3 days before the crime, as early as they went. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so I know that the searches, let me pull it up. I know they have the searches from the weekend before, and that's where a lot of the, like, find me a rich husband, that one's in there. Find me a new husband, find me a military spouse that doesn't have kids. Those are the searches. Like those searches are in the probable cause affidavit. But can I spray paint blood? That's not in there. I don't like my stepson. Should I get a divorce? Not in there. She does talk about. Talks about the ones with Landon, a lot more of like my, like something about kids, like my kids should be more important than getting my nails done, and that's about Landon. Like, is she going to buy me a Valentine's Day card since I raise her kids? She Googled this traffic accident, so that's the other one I wanted to talk about. So was she going to hit him with a car?
Oh my God.
She Googles hit and run, and then she Googles Letitia traffic accident. I find it weird that she puts their own names in there, like that's going to pop up like some type of
right.
Do you think she's searching to see if anything will pop up? Like there's an actual another Al or Letitia around that could possibly fit that, like she did with, I guess, when Quincy Brown popped up on her TV, she was like, okay, I'll go with him. Maybe she just wanted to see what would pop up, and maybe she could run
Like
with
she
something.
Googled herself, and then maybe those are results that popped up, and she clicked them.
Like maybe like
because
another
remember we couldn't figure out with Todd Mullis when they were going through the iPad. They couldn't differentiate sometimes between actual typed up searches, right? That a person actually typed, but then you have related searches that will come up as well. All he knew was that these specific searches had been clicked. So maybe she Googled herself.
And then it comes up traffic accident. I don't know. We don't know those things yet. So
no,
I think it's important. I think the timing is important. I think that he says these are the searches on her phone, that this is what she was searching for, that somebody used her phone to search for these things. So is it an article that pops up? I don't know. But obviously Al Stout cheating is not. Al Stout's Instagram. Why she's Googling that is also interesting. Just go to his Instagram.
It's almost like she's Googling like potential things that people could say, like, Al Stout's cheating rumors, things like that. If she was going to plan to run him over, Letitia traffic accident. I don't know. This is so weird.
She's so weird.
Very much. Weird. And it's such a calculating mindset that you can't tell, is this to come up with another story? Is she wanting to find, pregnant lady with money laundering? We should Google that. Let me Google that real quick.
Yeah, Google that and see what comes up. I'm very curious.
Yeah, let's Google that.
Even at the bottom, you will never know when it's too late. What the hell? Why would you Google that? I don't even get that. You'll forgive me and treat me like a princess. Oh, okay.
Well, I'll tell you what was, when she was asking the agent, what's the motive? What's the motive? What's the motive? I have to say that she made a very, very poor case for herself in that aspect. Because to be quite frank with you, the motive, you can hear them in the phone calls. In my opinion, you can hear them in her phone calls.
She says it. She pretty much says it to Al.
It has nothing to do with Al. It's all about Landon. In my opinion, that is what I took away.
In the call?
Yes. Everything is about Landon.
I agree. I think it's now proven now more than ever.
With Landon.
What's that?
I think she thinks he's cheating on her with Landon, and that him and Landon are getting back together. And I think it was Allie. Maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. Somebody made the comment that the video from the press conference when they're like hugging each other and Landon is like speaking to the camera and she's like, look, Gannon, your mommy and daddy are back together like you always wanted. Like, come home and we'll all be together kind of thing. When they thought he was a runaway.
Yes.
Well, she does say to the agent that one of Gannon's only like actual issues was that he would get very frustrated and upset because he wanted that, I guess, to work with his actual mom and all. And then once she said that, I went, oh, there it is right there. That's why Lena wasn't so much of an issue. Gannon was, because Gannon clearly was a mama's boy. He wanted to be with his mom. And if that's going to be what she uses, and then she follows up maybe 2 or 3 lines later with, I'm the mom and I should be called the mom. I'm like, oh no, like 3 weeks ago we were talking about this, and like she just comes right out and says it. Like, I don't know. It's right there. I mean, for me, it's right there.
I don't know what else to Google. So I Googled like fake pregnancy, money laundering, faking a pregnancy with money stuffed in fake baby belly. Most of it's popping up just like women lying about pregnancy to get child support, women lying about pregnancy to get paid time off from work. Hold on. This Georgia woman wore a fake bump to get paid maternity leave. So I don't see anything that's that, but I mean, who knows? I'll have to do some more digging into that to see if there's got to be something that she read about some lady. And then it's popping up stuff from yesterday. From yesterday. Money laundering, fake pregnant lady? Adoption schemes.
I mean, I know that with the phone calls, it's you know, like, but it's not for me. It's not just the phone calls that her fixation is Landon. She had to be consistently told that she was better than Landon all the time. She
had to be
was
superior of Landon. Had to be.
Yes, incredibly, reassured all the time about who she was, and you know that she was better than that Letitia was better than Landon all the time.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
And
she obviously wanted that from the kids too, because she talks about how she wanted them to be hers. She wanted to be their mom. And
yes.
I'm wondering if Gannon was, because he was a mommy's boy and he just wasn't going to go that route.
And let's just say, even if he just had those, you know, because of course when kids are not with their mom and their dad, and you know that they struggle, you know, sometimes, and maybe Lena not as much, but Gannon did. And without Gannon even expressing these things to her, I could see if he was, you know, having these big arguments or whatever she was initially trying to say, and creating all these issues over that. I don't think that was even the case. I think she just knew that. Like, she knew that she would see him hurting for like wanting to see his mom and wanting to be with his mom. And that was enough right there to just make her absolutely nuts. Like, she expected this 11-year-old to be so appreciative and fully understand that his biological mother is not actually the one taking care of him. Like, she says that. She said that might have been the only thing I did that was actually like wrong. And, you know, because we never had big blow-ups or anything like that, but I have said that to him and trying to explain that to him. Why are we having those conversations?
Right.
You know, like,
Hold on, I'm looking for this article real quick.
I feel so bad for Gannon. I cannot even begin to imagine what he dealt with over there. And this is by somebody who is supposed to be your mom, acting strange like she wants to be your mom, but that only happens in front of your dad. And then you're left with her.
This is interesting. Here, let me put this over here so you guys can see it. I haven't found pregnant lady yet, but it is from Colorado Springs in 2019. Colorado Springs Food Distribution Company and at least 6 local Mexican restaurants are linked to the Sinaloa cartel and drug lords El Chapo and El Mayo. Says it recently released federal complaint providing the first evidence of cartels operating in Colorado Springs. I'm looking for the pregnant lady part, though. Funnel money through Mexican restaurants in Colorado and Wyoming. That's interesting.
Thank you.
Here we go. Right here. The two seized deposit boxes tied to Monica's taco shop contained more than 800,000, the complaint said. Authorities believe a woman accessing the safe deposit boxes faked pregnancies to make deposits, carrying the cash inside of a false belly. There it is. Thank you, Dare to Be Different.
Bruh, she's messy.
So it's a legit story that she thinks that people are going to buy, that law enforcement's going to buy, because they have this happening in Colorado Springs. Well, this chick.
I have no words.
It is carrying the cash inside of a false belly. On 10 counts of money laundering. It's the most prolific, violent, and powerful drug cartels. Oh, this is why she needs immunity, because here's the thing is she keeps asking for immunity. And it's the dumbest thing too, because she doesn't actually ask for protection until she's talking to the FBI guy. She continues to ask Al for immunity because she thinks she's going to be in trouble. What she does, she should be asking for protection, witness protection, so she can testify and get, help with wherever he is. So she's asking for the wrong shit anyway. This is crazy. She did. So it is. There's an actual article in the Gazette from 2019, March 1st, 2019. So almost a year before.
And just when I thought she was absolutely crazy for making that up, here it's really happening too. That's
It's so bad too. But are they hopping into people's cars and trying to make them deliver money? She doesn't even say the lady holds a weapon to her or anything. She's like, I just got in the car, and there she was. And so I left Gannon there because he was laying down when I went into the Petco. And so I left Gannon in the car with some crazy lady, and that's why I kept checking the door. But then it changes, and it's like, wait, no.
You know how I am. I'm so kind. She's pregnant. Yeah. I couldn't do that to her.
She needed help.
She goes to this kind, forgets to be protective when she was this overprotective mom, but only 2 weeks before that, and she doesn't let the kids out of her sight at all, and blah, 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 blah. Like, can't even keep track.
Right.
Just can't.
Hi, hybrid. Yeah, I remember those, that both parents were abusive. I absolutely remember those. And she knows that Al's cheating. So her gut is telling her that Al's cheating. I can't say, I don't have proof that Al was cheating, but I can say that in my opinion, I believe that Al was cheating on her with probably Heather, who like I said before, I actually thought that's who he married, but then I found out that he actually married some other chick. So I think that she knew that something was wrong. She's talking about, and she's doing these searches where she's looking to see if he's cheating by Googling it, because there's going to be an answer on Google apparently.
Right. Google knows everything.
I wonder, did they say her name in here? Was her name Angel? I hope her name's not Angel.
Oh, yeah.
Angel. I wonder if they talk about an angel in here. Because where did she come up with the name Angel? That was another one I was wondering about. Where did that come from?
That I don't know, but the irony of it being someone who looks like her.
Yes, that was I mean, it just gets worse as she gets more caught. Like it just gets worse.
I always thought that he was with Heather that weekend, but then when he testified, he does talk about that he was asleep at the airport because he had the early flight. So he went to the airport, to the Denver airport with his mom, and then he slept on the floor there. I don't think that Al, one, would care if Letitia knew he was cheating at this point. Maybe the jury would care. I don't know how much that would be okay for her to be, to excuse her actions. I tend to believe that he probably did sleep at the airport that night and probably wasn't with her. But I thought, and I never have found proof, but I thought when it came out that he was supposedly at this hotel with Heather in Denver, I thought that somebody actually could prove it. But I've looked now and I can't find that proof. But the two people, the couple, and gosh forbid, I can't remember their names. There's a couple that was friends with Letitia and Al, and they were also friends with Heather, and that's how he met Heather. Heather's not on the witness list, but that couple is. So I'm wondering if we're going to find out more about that at all. I don't know. If Al was cheating, dang right, the defense is going to bring that up because it would cause the amount of stress that would cause her to change her personality. So they'll definitely bring it up if they can prove that he was cheating. I cannot imagine that they would not bring it up.
Of course, if they can prove it, they'll bring it up. And that's one thing I do want to say before I forget, and I will forget. Mm-hmm. The deal with what's her face, or the deal with not what's her face, the deal with the defense. Okay. So I see a lot in the law and crime chat and stuff that they don't think that the defense is doing a lackluster job and that they don't care. Well, the thing of it is, I could not disagree more. They do care, but the fact is, there's nothing that they can do with this testimony. Really, their time to shine is going to be taking down the state's expert witness, the psychiatrist. Okay, that's where they're going to come out swinging. If they don't come out swinging on the psychiatrist, then I will completely change my opinion and say they don't care and they are lackluster. But
I think that's going to be their only focus. I don't think
that's what they're waiting on.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's not that they don't care about any of this, but there isn't a whole lot they can do with this. I mean, the one witness that they somewhat, and let me say this, they could have gone in way, way harder on Harley, way harder, and they didn't. And I don't think that them going in on Harley is indicative of Harley's and Leticia's relationship. I don't think that do I think Leticia might be mad at Harley prior to her testimony? Sure, it's possible. But the defense has to do their job. Right. No matter what Leticia says, even if she told them, I don't want you questioning my daughter. Yep. I mean, because I remember Betty Broderick. Betty Broderick's oldest daughter testified against her. And she didn't have anything to do with that. Yep. That her attorney was doing his job.
Yes, exactly.
Leticia doesn't have anything to do. She could neither have stopped it or made it. I mean, the only thing she could have done was give ammo. And the fact that they didn't have any ammo on her, that only Leticia would know, means that Leticia likely didn't help in that process.
Exactly. The most she might have done was maybe bring up ways of Harley and things that Harley may say and things like that, just to maybe trip her up there, to maybe, because she knows her daughter, she knows her daughter's petrified. She doesn't know what her daughter could possibly answer to. And I actually think, as far as trying to be loyal to her mother, as far as taking that stand, as far as questions, I think she did in her mind the best that she possibly could at not incriminating her mother. I think she had no control over certain questions.
Right.
But she tried to control some of her answers. And that was even harder.
I agree.
For her to do. You know what I mean? Because
I agree. I mean, the only information I felt that could have come from Leticia was what happened in Alaska, the dinner, and maybe the car accident.
Yeah.
But that's it. But I do think that he could have gone way harder, and he didn't. He could have really pressed her about that GoFundMe.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't.
Nope.
And I will say this. Do I think that Harley is a product of being raised by Leticia? I absolutely do. So does that make her a victim of Leticia's? Yes.
Thank you, Jen.
However, it's time at this point now. What I would hope for her is that she does what she needs to do to heal from it and move forward and become a productive member of society, because that's all she really can do. She can't go back in the past. She can't really help her mom because her mom doesn't want to acknowledge anything that she's done. And I know that's got to be incredibly hard. And she's 20 years old. Yes, legally she is an adult, but her brain isn't fully developed yet.
Nope.
We have to cut her.
On Harley a lot. I'm still not sold.
Me too.
Really. I'm not sold
Me
100%
too.
one way or the other. I keep going back and forth. I lean more towards caring more about Harley not being involved than I used to, but there's still weird things that she said or didn't say. Those are still bother me. Then after listening to all these calls again as I was uploading them, I'm like, if she had asked her mom, why is the air on? Or if she had asked her mom, what is that smell? Letitia's not going to tell her. Look at what the conversation would have turned into. Harley's probably like, I don't even want to talk to her because I'm going to have to deal with the shit that goes along with having this conversation.
Right.
And
It's a yes or a no. Yeah. Sorry, Teresa. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Probably me.
Well, like, if you ask Letitia a question that requires a simple yes or no answer, you are not going to get a yes or a no answer. You're not really going to get an answer. You're just going to get a bunch of words. Who wants to deal with that?
Why would I
with
talk
the
to anybody like that? The fact that Al talks to her at all is impressive to me. And I'm not a huge fan of Al. Obviously, he's a victim in the case, and I don't think no matter what happened, he deserved anything that he's been put through. I don't.
Right.
I'm still not a huge fan of Al and some of the things that did happen even when he was with Landon, to the fact when he was with the kids, so on and so forth. But that's neither here nor there. But the fact that they had so much patience to try to figure out where his son was, I'd have been like, listen up, you effing mofo. I know exactly where you are, and I'm coming there. And
I was about to say that conversation would not be through the phone, because I'd be at her friggin' door, or where she would be tracked down. There would be
no, because the FBI was there. No, you guys are not thinking correctly. Be rational. The FBI was there. What you got to do is wait for the FBI to leave, because they weren't recording all of his calls, only when they were there. So you wait for the FBI to leave, and then you call Leticia, and then you say, you know what, Leticia, I've been thinking about it, and you're right. We should meet. We do need to work things out. I'll come meet you. Where should I meet you? Then Leticia goes missing. That's what I would do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when they say, why isn't she calling you? I'd be like,
Nobody could find Leticia. I don't know what happened to her.
And I would torture her for 30 minutes at a time, all day, every day, until she cracked.
We got a special little place for her to go to keep her for a while.
The shed. She needs to go to the shed.
Yes.
Somebody asked about the money that she was using to book the hotels and stuff. Well, she basically emptied the bank account.
Correct.
Like $2,600 out of their bank account. That's how she funded her trip across the country.
But before that, she stole $8,000 out of the account. Now, see, this is where I have to be side-eyeing out a little bit, okay? And listen, nothing, again, let me preface this by saying exactly what Teresa said. He is a victim in this, okay? And nothing that he did warranted her unaliving Gannon at all. He did not, that's not that's not correct, okay? That's wrong. He didn't deserve any of this, all right? But look, I have a lot of patience no, I don't. That's a lie. I have no patience for anything really. But I'm telling you right now.
You're making shit up, Jen.
I don't care how good that man laid the pipe. Okay. If he stole $8,000 from me, we finna have problems. And then lied to me on top of it. But let me tell you, we'd only have that problem one time.
That's it. You're right.
Hold on, you guys.
Yeah. Nope. I don't care.
This one. So this was, as I was going through when I made the Gannon video, there was I found a bunch of my old screenshots. So this was one that I didn't put in the video, but I thought was interesting. And I was pulling it up while I try to find this other one about the sock, because I know I have it, but Al talked to her about a sock.
Yes.
And she posted under one of the fake accounts, or one, I can't remember if it was somebody that she was talking to that posted it, or if it was one of her fake accounts that posted it, about Al talking to her about a board with blood and a sock. And then they brought it up when the agent was on the stand yesterday about the sock, and he goes, there's nothing about a sock. I don't know what that's about. But I'm thinking there is something about a sock, because there was a sock in this candle. And I'm trying to find that screenshot so I don't mess up what was actually said. And so I'm really starting to think that she used this sock, and the sock is actually what was on fire and on the ground. Especially after, so Avery Shannon, she's another channel that covers the case. She did like a, what do you call it? Like a reenactment. We lost Jen. I didn't even notice we lost Jen. She's gone.
She has to fix something, I think. She'll be right back.
Okay. So she did like a reenactment where she knocked over a bunch of different candles on a He asked me about a sock, Lex Luthor, but I don't quote me on that until I find it.
T, when you're done with the sock, Lex and Lori are asking about the Alaska dinner story, but I didn't know if you were going to touch on that or not.
Oh, when she tells her this is our last supper together?
Yeah.
You know, come and eat with me because this is the last dinner we're going to have.
More manipulation onto Harley and... Wait,
is that it?
All right, just let me know if that answered your question, babe. Same with Lex. I need to do something with this laptop. It's just not good.
I hope they have a fire expert, but I don't know if it would actually matter. But I don't know. I can't find the screenshot, you guys. I'm sorry. Nope, that's the same one I already have up. I'm trying to go off of what I remember it looks like because everything is so... I mean, you guys might just find some of these old screenshots interesting anyway, but...
Here she goes.
So this is an old one. So I have an insights here. Listen to this one. This was also one that comes up because of what we said. So I have an inside source on this case, and it has been said that she has admitted to how she killed him, which we know isn't true. She didn't admit to it. She said she poisoned him and drove him around waiting for him to die, but the poison didn't work, so she came back home and beat him with a baseball bat. She then put him in a suitcase. She didn't say yet where or when she took him from the house. I see flaws in the confession, but this was told after she was arrested. What do you think about this? I am a local here and I'm considering driving to Castle Rock to go check it out. Is that not crazy? Because at the time this was posted, I remember thinking like, that's not true. There's no poison and there's no baseball bat. We don't know any of that stuff. We all suspected that she probably had given him something, but the poison, it stands out to me now because of the Google searches about poison.
Oh.
Isn't that weird?
And then where she pulls the bath salts from, because sometimes I don't know if that was supposed to be aligned with poisoning or that was supposed to just be something that Gannon did on his own and to himself. Like, I don't, like when she talks about bath salts and then the poisoning, I don't know if she's saying that as the same thing or something separate. Like, she confuses me with that one.
Well, for me, I think with the bath salts, I think she recognized that wasn't going to work very well. And I think she sort of abandoned that.
Yeah.
I think she was going to go somewhere else with it. Like, I think that I think what Letitia really did is everything that candle, in my opinion, was nothing more than to cover up what I think was a beating. And I think that what it was intended to do was buy her time. I think that what she needed to do with the story of him running away, she gave the story of running away because that will get a different level of police response. It's much different when, that they suspect that a child has been kidnapped. In fact, it wasn't Leticia who escalated the situation. It was actually the police. And it's because, obviously, it was cold. He's 11. So what I think happened is everything was designed to keep them as far away from the house as possible, because I do feel like, and she was successful in removing some items from the home. But once the police were called, they were watching her. And so then her everything was limited. And so I do think that the talk about bath salts, the planting of, and believe me, I think that the Swisher Sweets cigars, those were planted. I think it was very intentional. I think to have Harley be the one that found them, because then you have, just like it was she had Harley go down to that basement that Sunday night because she needed independent eyes that were older. Lena was not
Jen.
going to be a sufficient enough witness, in my opinion. And that's why everything she did was calculated to misdirect the investigation.
Totally
The problem is that once the ball got rolling and Landon came to town, I think she thought that when she told the SA story, that first of all, it would back the cops off of her a little bit, because now she's the victim, right? Not, she didn't just, this person did something to her and then took Gannett, right?
She feels like
so now
she's have to get gentle for her now because she
exactly. But I think where she lost the plot is in her jealousy of Landon. The fact that Landon was in the same area code or zip code as Al drove her
nuts,
bonkers. She could not stand it. And I think that's why she continued to call him. I actually think that she is telling a kernel of truth in that FBI interrogation when she says that she did it because she was mad at him. She said the thing she said because she was mad at him. I do think there's a kernel of truth to that. I do think that she enjoyed, for lack of a better word, and part of my French, but fucking with Al.
Literally. Yes, Jen. Yes. She was torturing that man. Yes. And
I think she wanted to know who he was with. That was her big thing. She wanted to know who he was with. She didn't. He's like, I'm exhausted. She's like, why are you tired? I thought you were off today. And it's like, my fucking 11-year-old son is missing. What are you talking about? Why am I tired?
Exactly.
Her little plan, it jacked it all up because her full emotions are involved, because now it's about Landon and Al and who Al's with, and all those insecurities come flying right back in, and Jen nailed it with that one.
And the truth of the matter is, this relationship between Al and Leticia was going to be doomed from the start, period. Neither one of them can trust the other. Al, sorry about this, but this is just facts. At that point in time, bruh, you were a cheater.
Yep.
And Leticia can't be trusted on Al's part because she cheats with married men.
Yep. Yep.
And Al, and then here comes Leticia. Now she's the wife. Well, guess what he does to his wife? He cheats. But there are parts in that phone conversation between the two of them that they play games with each other, and that's just the truth.
Yes, Jen. Yes. Go ahead.
When they talk about the ring picture, I feel like that's how their conversations went. And I have to say that I'm lucky. Okay, my anniversary is tomorrow. Well, it'll be 28 years. Me and my husband have been together. Okay.
Jen.
Thank you. I cannot imagine having to date with young children. I just can't. I just don't think there's anybody in the world that I would trust. I don't think I could do it, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I could.
I'm sorry.
Jen. I might could date, but I would never be and they wouldn't be living with me, because I don't think that I would ever be able to trust another human being. I just don't think I would.
I agree.
And the way that, Al's getting a lot of praise for the way he handled Leticia on those phone calls, and he should. But something tells me he didn't require a whole lot of prep from the FBI, because this is Leticia, and he's dealt with her before, and he's quite adept at dealing with her.
Like, we didn't have to give him too much. And I'm sorry, you guys in chat, I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to find this silly screenshot because it's going to drive me insane. So I'm not ignoring you.
It's okay. It'll be a good 5 minutes out.
And I'm sitting outside, and the sun is out, so I can't even see my screen, even if I'd wanted to. So I can't even look at chat. But I think he is quite adept at dealing with Leticia. And I find it sad that I think that the household revolved around Leticia and her various moods.
It for surely did. It absolutely did. Al set that tone in that way in that house, and then those kids had to, well, especially his two.
And I don't think, I don't know how he left I don't know how he left his
Yes.
kids with
Yes.
Leticia for that. For it'd be the only it'd be different if he worked a 9 to 5 job, right? Or even not even a 9 to 5 job, but he came home every night. But that's not his gig.
Yep.
And it's not that he's just gone a lot. He's not only is he gone from the home, he's gone from the state sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's
And Al, as a grown man, was having trouble managing Leticia on those phone calls. And I think that it would have been like that. Now, obviously, Gannon being missing, that is a whole different situation and scenario. But I do think that the way that they communicate in this situation is likely the way that they communicated all the time about everything, big or small.
Yep. You can even hear when the FBI has to sometimes like make him come back out that lane because he starts to go down his actual relationship conversations, and it clearly always leads to nowhere, and he falls right into her manipulation, and you see that the FBI has to like kind of retake him back out and zone him right back into the actual question at hand again.
Yeah. And I think that I don't know what he was thinking leaving his children with her like that. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be judgmental, and I'm not saying that he deserves any of it, but
I totally agree. Look, my son he came into my world. He was 1.5, 2 years old. But in the beginning, I would never just leave him with me for however long. And when he had to work and things like that, that trust had to be built over a very long period of time. And even for myself in the very beginning, like I didn't want to just have him all on my own and things like that, because I'm fairly new to this child. This is a new relationship. He's new to me. We have to, we have to lay all that family foundation out with the comfortability of his father being around, and my son knowing that his mother is okay with the situation and that we're okay, so that he can he can know that I'm safe, and that on the flip end, even with me, I had to prove myself. I had to show my love. I had to prove my love. And I would never take that back, because that's what created the strong relationship I have with my son today. I don't know how it worked inside that household like that, because it's very, very hard, like you said, to be in a relationship with somebody who does have small kids. It's a lot of work, and it's not about you two. It has to start with kids first. It has to, because the relationship.
It just seems like everything moved so quickly with them.
It did.
And I think that has to be difficult on kids. I mean, my kids they don't, I'm very blessed. They don't have special needs or anything like that. But there's been times when I've moved stuff around in the house and they're all discombobulated for a few days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like to have this instant family. And the thing of it is, what complicates the situation even more, in my opinion, is the fact that Leticia and Landon, I think for Landon's part more so than Leticia's, but they were friends. They had a friendship. So Landon is betrayed on 2 levels.
Yep.
And
I almost feel like Leticia got off on that in her own way.
I think she did too. I think she was very. I said this lots of times. I'm very, very curious to know not from Leticia and not from Landon, but from an outsider who was around, what their friendship was like. Because I suspect that Leticia, more than envied, she coveted what she thought Landon had with Al, and she set about getting it for herself. But that's the thing, is you never really, no matter how good of a friend or how close you are, you never really know what goes on behind closed doors. And your perception of a situation could be completely wrong, And I just think I don't know. It's sad. And I will say this, you found the screenshot. Is that what you were looking for? Okay, let me be quiet. I couldn't see because I was outside. I'm so sorry.
No, the screenshot is Peyton Murray, which is Letitia's fake account that she started her T support group with.
Oh God!
So Al called T and asked her about a sock and a piece of wood found beside the road on the search. Sure, big guy, try again. Maybe you put the sock there since you have been in and out of the quote unquote crime scene. Or maybe you are lying because cops tell people what they find, right? Wait, this is El Paso, and they violate constitutional rights, so I'll give you that. How about tell them you chopped your finger off in the garage and that Gannon got hurt one time while you were teaching him to use a box cutter? He sucks just like he did at softball. Cleaned blood in the garage was from you and your hobbies. Hashtag Gannon Strong. This is her.
Vicious. She brings that up too. She had that ready to go to even put that little droplet onto Al. Oh,
of course she did. Mm-hmm. Of course she brought that up.
Yep.
Because she is
final.
The worst.
Oh, wow.
She sucks at everything.
I forgot she started this whole T-Stouch group for her friggin' self. And oh, wow.
Yeah, he was in the National Guard. Wasn't he in the National Guard? I'm pretty sure he was National Guard. Yeah. So she talks about the sock, but apparently she said that the sock was found during the search with the wood. But that's not where the sock is actually found. The sock is found with the candle. So is there... I guess that's my question. Is the other sock out there by the wood and nobody ever found it? But when he talks to her about a sock, she tells on herself and is like... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yes.
Did nobody ever find this other sock? Does the sock that's in the candle have a pair? It does sound just like her. I know. It literally does with the quote unquote crime scene.
It sure does.
Well, and I when she said that, the FBI, because she makes those comments to the FBI agent, right? And he answered, he said to her, his retort would have been what my retort would have been. Letitia, it was declared a crime scene because, and after a minute, because we believed what you said, which was that Gannon ran away. And when those leads stopped panning out and the evidence took us in a different direction, and then we really started looking at your home, hell yeah, that's why we realized that, now it's a crime scene. So there's nobody to blame but you. Because again, you suck, Letitia.
You suck at everything, Peyton, Letitia, Maria, whatever you want to be called. Hi,
hey,
Al.
Girl. Hey.
Is that Allie?
Yeah.
Allie has something for the sock.
This is the perfect time for me to come up. I was going to try to come up anyways because I'm driving back to the house. And while I'm in the car, I thought it'd be perfect time I could talk to you guys for a few minutes. But then you started talking about this. I remember this. And I thought the police found a sock. Like I've been saying, I've said it a few times, like on my channel in the chat earlier here. I remember someone talking about a sock being found out that old county road with blood on it.
Yeah.
Somewhere through this process. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Allie was commenting that about 10 minutes ago in chat or 15 minutes ago in chat. It's coming. I knew it was coming around.
But now I'm wondering, you guys, if because it's been so long, and look, let's be fair to ourselves. 3 years in the true crime community is an eternity, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the sock story that we're all remembering actually started with Letitia. And that's why we're remembering. Huh?
Oh my God. That would be insane. Teresa, I didn't know that she had this account. This is the first I've seen this.
Oh yeah, Peyton was her. She opened the support group for T, and she tried to say that she was, she had been friends with Letitia and actually knew Landon for quite some time. But everything she says, she turns it in the way that she talks and ends up so. She'll say things. I have quite a few Peyton posts.
It's very hard to keep up talking in the third person.
Right. So she ends up changing it to things about herself or about her daughter or about, Al, the way she talks. Like maybe like right here. So she says like, how about tell them you chopped your finger off in the garage and that Gannon got hurt one time while you were teaching him to use a box cutter.
Yeah.
So she's saying it like she knows it for fact. Do you know what I'm saying? Like she was
there.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like she's talking about it from firsthand experience.
Yes.
She's messy as fuck.
Yes.
That reminds me of what that FBI, the agent Gruesing, he was talking about like his training and stuff, and he said we're trained to look for illogical use of pronouns and stuff like that. That would be that, right? Like that.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, like how she switches from third to first, and then how she says
right.
Like she won't say Gannon's name. She continues to call him the boy or that boy or
your son.
Right.
My son, your son, my son, our son.
That kid.
Right.
That kid.
I'm
a mom. You know what? If we really, really analyze Leticia's phone calls and interviews, she actually doesn't refer to any of the children by their names. Very rarely.
When this is over, maybe I can go back and re-listen and like actually pay attention to things that were said. But I don't know, my brain is so corrupt at this moment of time, like listening to her so much.
You need a hard reset?
I really do.
How many people?
About this, hold on, let me just answer this real quick. Somebody asked about the socks in the suitcase, and they said that they knew it was a kid, and that the child was wearing football socks. So, but I don't know if the other sock that matches the sock in the candle was ever actually found. I'm going to grab a soda real quick so you guys can do it.
I wonder how many people were in that support group.
Oh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I cannot believe that I can't believe I forgot that she did this, but that she actually did this. Like, this is the stuff that she was, like, honestly focused on. You want to know what I want to know? I want to know if, like, what was the big hang up? If you already got I don't know if her and Landon were full friends or whatever we're going to call it, but if you already got to your friend's guy, excuse me, he made you the wife, he did all of those things. What made her still so just hung up on Landon that, like, did she see Al be different with Landon? Like, did they have a completely different relationship that Letitia thought she was going to get, and then that just didn't happen?
No, I think it was because Al and Landon had a connection that Leticia and Al would never have because they have children together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
that is a bond that you can't replicate.
Right,
no matter how,
think about it. She had these kids sometimes while you guys were talking about him trusting her with his kids. Shoot, sometimes she had them all the time. Exactly. That's crazy.
Yeah. She did have them. She had them a lot. That's why I'll never understand. There's no way he dealt with her. He knew her level of crazy, whether that's ever going to be said or not. Never, I'm sure. But you left. You like, and again, he'll pay for that on his own. I get that, but that'll just never sit right with me. Like,
I'll tell you this: it doesn't sit right with a lot of people because when Allie knows this because we talked about it on her channel, but I watch on Law and Crime, and I was watching the chat, and when those phone calls are being played, and I don't know how it got brought up, but somebody in the chat mentioned that Al had remarried and had another child. And y'all, that chat went ham. People were livid. They were so upset about it. Yes.
Well, yeah, but it's pretty damn quick, right? And then people have talked about that that's a replacement child, and that's really sad. It is a little boy. They brought him to the courthouse. You can see him on the news walking up.
Can I say this? Even if you think that might be a replacement child, maybe don't say that, guys, in the chats, because this he's a baby now, but he's going to be a child and then a teenager and then an adult soon, right? Mm-hmm. And someday he may go back and look at this stuff. Yeah. And can you imagine if you went back to watch Leticia's trial and you watch the live chat replay and you read that over and over and over and over and over and over, how that would make you feel?
A bunch of adults that are parents themselves, most of them, that would even regard that child that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to do it to the parents, but the child itself has, that goes nothing to do with anything,
Right.
I wonder
It's
how
not.
Letitia feels about him moving on so quick and stuff. You know she can't stand it.
I think she's at a 7 on the mad scale, but what would put her at a 10 and above would be if Al and Landon had gotten back together, if this tragedy had reunited them and she was the cause of the tragedy. Can you imagine?
Oh yeah,
I think
that's
that's
She
what
would
thought was
burst into
happening.
flames and explode right there in that courtroom.
Yep, I think that's what she thought was happening in that interview with Agent Bruce, saying like she cared more about that than anything.
She definitely did. Yep, it's crazy. Oh, he's trying to talk about Gannon, and she's like, "Are you cheating on me, Al? Tell me, who are you sleeping with?" Like, what, lady? Are you crazy?
Not even important.
But then they had a threesome. Are we all going to just pretend that Letitia didn't tell everybody that they had a threesome? So how upset are you really about him being with another woman again?
Did she say who it was with?
Angel.
Yeah, where's Jordan at? Jordan brought this up in chat. The threesome situation. Like, come on, that's another thing that speaks volumes about the relationship. And not that they had it, but look what was happening in that relationship, what she thought was happening with Al. And then
Right. So you're concerned that he's not being faithful. So what do? You willingly bring another woman into the relationship, not even the relationship, into the bedroom.
Oh Lord. Oh God.
Which different strokes for different folks, but I'm just going to tell you from an outsider's perspective, that doesn't seem like it's going to fix anything. In fact, if anything, it would make things worse.
Yes.
But you know darn well that was probably back in the heyday before the kids. This is one of my thoughts.
I bet you it didn't even happen. I bet it's a whole ass lie.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it's the dichotomy of her saying one thing out of one side of her mouth, worrying about Al being a cheater, pumpkin eater, and then 2 seconds later, and we had a threesome, and yeah, she looked almost exactly like me. Her name was Angel. Get the fuck out of here.
Angel.
The girl had to look. The woman had to look like her too, so she couldn't have the insecurity just flying out everywhere. Like it couldn't be God forbid Al loved the blonde or something like that.
Right.
This woman had to look exactly like her.
Right. I mean, look, we all watch this play out on 90210. This is
yes.
What?
What, Allie? Say that again.
We're so delayed. Go ahead.
We all watch this play out on 9.
Are you good? I told Teresa about that. I'm gonna leave and come back in.
Okay, darn it.
I know what she wants me to tell you.
Yes, about the law and crime chat and that theory.
Yes.
I want to see how it works. Like, if it makes sense to you, Teresa, and your working theory about the carpets and that kind of stuff.
Oh, tell me.
Okay, so I cannot take credit for this. This is not my own theory. Well, just this part is not. Okay, although I agree with it. Somebody in the law and crime chat suggested that Gannon, in an effort to escape Leticia, got in between the wall and the bed, because remember, the bed wasn't always up close to the wall. There was space, and tried to crawl and got underneath the bed.
Yeah.
My part of it is that I think that is when Leticia went to get the gun.
I always felt like that the bed was moved the bed had moved because of that reason, that whatever the attack or whatever was happening on the bed, and he just kind of like slipped through the bed, whether he knew that bed could move easy or not, and that's kind of how that happened. And now I'm starting to think where you're going with it. Wow.
Because if you look at where that stain is, to me, it looks like it's right where the head of the bed would be.
Yes.
And if he were trying to get away, scooching away, and he was defending himself up until a point, bless his little sweetheart. And then he got in between the mattress or the bed and the wall, and then went to hide underneath the bed.
Yep.
And that's when she had to have done something. That's why she missed.
Twice.
I'm wondering,
That makes so
it's
much
hard
sense.
because the pillow is what actually has the gun, the 2 remaining bullets in it, and there's actually no sign of a gunshot in the room per se. I feel like I do feel like it's a very good chance. I think we talked about this the last time too, Michelle. Is I think that there's a good chance that he did hide there, and that she did probably go in there. But I think that might be where the I hate talking about it like this, but
I know.
it is what it is, and I don't mean to sound callous. I really don't.
You don't, babe. None of us do sound callous. We're not. That's not our intention. I think people know that. We're just talking about what we think might have happened.
I think that's where the blunt force trauma happened, because he's hiding and he's probably down there, and that it's also possible that that's where some of the stab wounds were, because he's hiding with his hands over his head, like hiding his head. Yeah. And then he does have stab wounds to his hands that they talk about possible like defensive wounds, but defensive doesn't mean like actually like fighting back defensive.
No, it just means he has his hands up.
Right, exactly.
To block her.
I feel like that he was hiding over there, but puts his hands like up over his head, and that's where either the blunt force trauma or the stabs happen. And I think that he's in the bed when she shoots him.
Oh yes, I think she put this. So I thought, okay, this was what I thought she did. I thought she was potentially hitting him with the butt of the gun to get him out of underneath the bed, and then I think she put him on top, and then that's what I thought happened. I don't like a
bitch. I can't.
I hate her. I just hate
I'll
her.
tell you guys. This is the closest to being around people who are not convicts that this for this amount of time that she will ever be again. I fully 100% believe that this jury is abso-freaking-lutely going to convict her. They are not going to find her not guilty by reason of insanity. I don't think that it would matter at all what Dr. Lewis says, because I think this jury is going to feel exactly and see it the way that we do. Yeah. There's no way that she was in a psychotic break for hours and hours and hours to accomplish all of this. And I'm talking about just the hours and hours and hours of the actual unaliving, not before and not after, but during that time. And I don't think she did so much, and nobody ever saw her be, yes, the people at Petco said that she was acting strangely. And I already said this before. I think that if she had, there's a difference between somebody who's acting strangely and somebody who's is in the middle of a psychotic episode.
Yes. Yep.
And I believe 100% that it would have drawn, if she'd been in one, it would have drawn attention. People would have remembered it. People would have noticed it. Yes. And, I don't think Letitia has a snowball's chance in hell of being found not guilty or not guilty by reason of insanity.
And I think if she stayed in that, go ahead, Allie. I'm sorry, babe.
No, I'm sorry. It's my delay because the service is so bad here, and I'm going to jump back in chat in a second. But I just wanted I want to ask you guys, because it does keep coming up, these little instances of her having Gannon call her by a different name, Harley call her by a different name, using different names. And I don't believe, in my personal opinion, that she has dissociative identity disorder. But it is coming up more than I've ever heard in any other cases, or you know what I mean? It's not like this is normal behavior for an adult woman. So it's kind of strange the way it keeps coming up. And you guys, when I just pulled in my driveway, there was a huge snake in the driveway, like right on the edge of it.
Allie.
If you have snakes, that means you don't have mice.
Oh yes.
It's freaky though. It scares me because there's like water moccasins and stuff around here. I don't even know.
Now you better hop, skip, and jump, babe. Get in that house.
You better pretend like you better play the best game of the floor is lava that you've ever played in your life, Allie.
Thank you.
But
Dee.
yeah,
Thank you.
what do you guys think about the like coming up with the different having her call her different names and stuff? Like, remember they said Harley had a safe word. She had to call her back, like she had to say her Letitia's middle name, and then she had Ganning by calling her other people's names because she didn't like her name and that kind of
I think
stuff.
that's exactly what it was, though. I think that Leticia is very, very immature. And I do think that she has, I think this is obvious, that she has some type of mental health issue. And I believe there's some cluster B thrown in there as well, on top of it for good measure.
Mhm.
But that's all I believe.
Yeah. I think that was all just part, like you said, Jen, is she thinks she is Harley. She thinks, and she's frustrated by her responsibility. She's frustrated by having to actually adult and be the wife and be the actual mother. She wanted all the titles, but doing the work behind it was a huge problem for her.
Yeah, she thought that what was going to happen is that she was going to be married into being a military wife, right? So she gets all of the accolades that come with being a military wife, right? But then some of the benefits of it, like a benefit of it too, is if you're only having to look after your daughter who's 6 years older, who's 17, or well, so they were together for what? They were together for a while. So
married I think they met.
Harley would have been what, 15?
2015, something like that.
Yeah, 15 or 16. So you got a 15 or 16-year-old kid, and I hate to say it, but you're pretty much footloose and fancy free. You don't have your husband at home that you have to wait on hand and foot or deal with any of. You got the whole bed to yourself.
Yeah.
You can have the AC as low as you want it, the fan on takeoff speed if you need it, and nobody's going to say anything. And I think that's what she thought she was signing up for.
Yep. Her
And I think
with her
exactly
daughter, nowhere near what it would take for littles. Like I say to Teresa all the time, like I have a little bit more time because yes, I have kids, but my kids are older and I have a little bit more time, because they're more self-sufficient. Where Teresa has little ones and they kind of still
they need their mama still.
They no doubt.
And it goes away quick,
yeah.
And I think that's what Leticia thought. But I think if Leticia sat down and was ever just 100% honest with herself, nobody else, just herself, I don't think she was actually in love with Al like she thought she was, to be honest with you. I think that for her, it was about attaining. Then when she got him, the fantasy came crashing down when reality hit. Mm-hmm. And I think that I honestly think that for her, in her mind, it was only Al's choice was only ever between her and Landon. Like Dylan, his only choice of women in the entire world was Brenda or Kelly.
Yes, Jen.
Right? That's the situation here. And I feel like that's what she thought, that if she let him go, the only arms he could run to would be to Landon.
I totally agree with that.
That was his only option.
Yep.
Whereas I would like to just say for all of the people in the audience, if you're not happy with your spouse, just get out. Just get out. If you think they're cheating, pack that full of fucking lunch and leave.
That's it. Roll, baby. Take your bat and net and go. What do they say? Take your bat and ball and go?
Yes. Take all. Don't just take that. Make sure don't leave the house. Don't abandon your equity. But if you can't, if you have to, just dip. Just go. It's not worth it. Life is too short. Don't put yourself through the aggravation.
Love yourself first. Make that happiness work for you first in that life. And if that man is meant to be there, or any man for that matter is meant to be there, he'll fucking be there. And that's it.
Exactly.
Doing you.
Exactly. And if not, men are like buses. Another one will be along in 10 minutes.
Real shit, Jen. Say it. Boom, girl.
Don't be stressing yourself out.
That's right. Life's too short. It's about being happy. And there's always somebody for somebody, no matter how that goes. And as long as
there's a lid for every pot.
That's it. As long as your life and you're 10 toes down, you're solid, you know who the fuck you are, and you're happy, when they come into your world, it will all just flow the same, you know. But when you're nuts and you're already crazy and you started a relationship off of being vindictive and insecurities and all this other shit, yeah, it can only come out to this. And the saddest part is that the child paid for it instead of Al. In a sense, will pay for something for the rest of his life, yes, but Al didn't take the full fucking nightmare of this. I don't even know what to call it, because Gannon did. Gannon is
and now the world has been robbed of Gannon's potential. Yes. We have no idea what that little boy was going to be when he grew up and what he would bring to the world.
Thank you, Jen.
It's awful. It is awful.
And she took that from everybody. Too. And Tylee and JJ too.
Yep.
Jen says all the time, like, they're very similar, but they operate in different ways. But they are, and it's a lot of their selfish tendencies. And I think maybe it's just how evil, I don't know, because both of these women, they have the ability to make all of us so angry, like that they're just evil. I don't know, it's crazy.
Because we know, we're moms, we deal with our kids every day, and we know sometimes the level that our children can bring us. Some of us are even in situations where we do have stepchildren, just like Letitia, or some of us believe in certain things like Lori and things like that, but we can never imagine it equating to us doing something so unbelievably horrific to our child, our babies, another child that we have raised like our own. Like, that's why we're sitting here. We're nuts right now. We're crazy. She makes me twitch, literally.
Because none of us could ever imagine there would ever be we cannot understand why anyone would harm a child ever, whether it's their own child, just any child, period. None of us can fathom it. And not only did these two wackadoos do what they did, but they feel justified in what they did. That's what's so irritating to me with Lori and Leticia. Leticia and Lori both feel justified in what they did. They don't actually think that they did anything wrong. The only thing that they're upset about is that they're getting 3 hots in a cot. That's it. That's what they're mad about.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my God, when they enhanced that call, and we actually heard Lori now talking about the kids answering, "Oh, you don't know what happened," and the giggle that she gives Colby, and like just hearing her, that's the most we've ever heard from her about what happened to them, where they're at, and she confronted after they've been found. That call, so that it was infuriating. She sounds like an evil demon or something.
Well, yeah, and when Colby said you never, like, she that's the first time she said that Tylee and JJ, I hate even saying this, were a burden to her, but she didn't actually use those words. She danced around it. And Colby
everybody says that now.
Yeah, everybody says that now. Well, did you ever at any point ever ask for anybody to help? I mean, look, you Lori, you were running around Hell's Half Acre acting like Mary Poppins on shrooms, okay? All smiles and light and everything, and never once did you ever say to anybody that you needed help. People can't help what they don't know.
Yep. Well, and that's why the prosecutor did a good job asking Colby that too. Did she ever ask you for help? And he's like, nope, just help moving. So I think that's a big deal. So there's a couple questions in here. Hold on, I want to answer. And maybe you guys have the answer to this too, because I was going to go back and watch some of the body cam footage. It's so hard to see. I know Sleuth Mom zoomed in on it and posted it on her channel, but it's still so hard to see. If the initial body cams from that night, if you can actually see the green suitcase anywhere.
I have looked. I cannot.
Haven't.
I can't either. So it's either he's in the storage, or either the suitcase is in the storage room, or it's in the car, or it's outside. It's one of those three, in my opinion. I'm not exactly sure, so I don't want to say where it was because I don't really know. I don't know when she put the suitcase.
Wasn't there blood? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Wasn't there blood on the back of the Tiguan? I don't know if I've heard that much in the trial, but I feel like in the affidavit we heard that.
Yeah, there's blood on the Tiguan, yes.
Or maybe in the trial too, just so much.
Okay. He tells her that the amount of blood in the Tiguan is too much, which I thought was interesting too, because we never heard there was too much blood in the Tiguan.
No, that's a new thing. That's a new thing.
But he also, you can lie, so I don't know how much of that is accurate or not accurate. So I don't know.
I wondered about that too when we were watching about them lying.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. This is the only thing that I'm confident in saying. In those first few hours after everything happened, I think what I feel confident in saying is wherever Gannon was close enough that Letitia could keep an eye. So I would imagine he was very near to that house, if not actually in the home.
Was it anywhere near where Carly got her eyelashes done at? I can't remember. She brings that up a lot, but I can't remember if that's where.
Palmer Lake, you mean? Like that place?
Yeah, because there's two salons right over there.
In the chat.
I wasn't sure.
Oh, Allie, you're cutting out, babe. We can't hear you.
Allie.
I'm going to jump down into the chat, okay? And talk to you guys from there, because my signal's cutting out anyways really bad, and this way I can take care of a few things. Okay? Can you hear me?
Okay, babe.
Bye, Allie.
Love you, Allie.
Yeah, he could have been bluffing about the
Bye,
Tiguan info. I think so too.
I love you.
Bye, Adam.
Bye, Allie. Yeah, because I feel like that would have come up. Don't you think, when they had the criminalist up there? Or the CSI? Don't you think that would have come out?
I thought so. Also, just like they had the people who searched around Palmer Lake and found the board, and they don't talk about that they found the sock there. So that's why I was like, okay. But the tough part is we don't know what evidence wasn't allowed or what evidence they chose not to.
That's correct.
Well, they chose not to put into the trial. So yeah, she names her dog Chance after her dad.
Because y'all know there's like 87 other phone calls between Al and Leticia that they chose not to admit, not to try to get in, because they picked out the ones that they felt, can you imagine?
Yeah, no, I can't actually, because I will lose my mind. No.
So there's multiple people in the chat that think or have stated now that they think it was said by an officer on the stand that it was observed in the back of the car, but nobody showed any interest in it. They didn't bother to look in it. I don't remember that. In my head, I want to think that I would have paid attention to that, but there's so much that I may have just missed it.
I think you're right. I think the chat is right, Teresa. I think that it was mentioned, and it was mentioned in that way, that there was maybe a spot, but nobody really, because at that point, they were thinking that Gannon was a runaway. And they didn't really have a whole lot else to go on other than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, okay, hold on. So Lisa Lee,
she misdirected the shit out of that investigation.
On purpose.
Yeah, of course.
Lisa Lee, yes, she was married to Harley's dad before, but it's weird because Harley's dad's death certificate states that he was never married, but we have the divorce docs that show that they were actually getting a divorce. So that's why she was Letitia Hunt, because that was his name. That's where that name came in. Hardin is her maiden name. And then did they look in the utility room during that search? Yes, but the problem is there was so much stuff in there, and the angle of the body cam was really bad. It's not like some of the photos stuff they've shown. That was one of the first few days, so you can't see it very well. Did they search the car? She goes to the car to get her ID and stuff, and one of the cops is with her, but I don't remember. I don't remember where the suitcase was. If anybody saw it that night, I'm sorry, you guys. I just don't remember. And then
Harley doesn't even remember seeing the suitcase. Nobody does, really.
Does Harley have both dogs? I know that Al actually got Sadie in the divorce. And so I don't know if Harley just has chance or if he ended up letting Harley keep both. I don't actually know that, but I know that in Al and Letitia's divorce, he got Sadie.
And as far as Leticia keeping Al's last name for the rest of her life, I think that yes, she will. Because this is a woman
that makes her not be able to.
Exactly. And I'll say this is a woman who her whole livelong life, according to her, did not like her first name. Changing your name as an adult is not that big of a deal. It's not a complicated process. And we know she knows how to use Google. Hell, we have 11 billion of her Google searches. So she could have done it if she'd wanted to. And I just think that's, I think she wants to be tied to him for the rest of her life. Because I would also say that Leticia probably, when she's alone with only her thoughts, on some level, I think she actually blames Al. Like Al drove her to do this.
Yes. Oh, I absolutely think so too. This is Landon and Al's fault. She hates them.
Exactly.
Yep.
In my heart of hearts, I believe that she is enjoying their misery in this trial, and that this trial has a lot to do with making them even more miserable, because they are at fault. This is all of their fault.
Yep. And this trial is just a stage.
If they had just appreciated her, if they had just
if they would have just acknowledged what a ball of wonderful Leticia was, and how selfless and giving and kind.
Yeah.
She's martyred herself, frankly, at this point.
Oh.
She's disgusting.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so the chat said that Harley does say she had both dogs. So then Al must have let her keep that dog. So.
And I will say this with respect to Al and Harley. I, just out of my own curiosity, I wonder why they don't have a relationship.
You mean now?
Yes. I
think wonder if you do now. Now that she went and not testified, but went and did the proffer in November. The problem is that she believed her mom, and I think that Al was not sure what she knew and what she didn't know, because
that's what I think.
Yeah.
And so he's like, my son was dead. Like, I can't take care of you. I can't be around you. Yeah. And hopefully there's some healing in that, and that they end up finding peace, at least, whether they're in each other's lives or not. I don't know, but
I think I would like to think they're on some type of settled ground, especially like I saw the way Harley looked over at him, and even Landon. She smiled at both of them, like almost, and not even like the hello smile, like she needed a smile back for some comfort or something like that, or just to know that she could do that again, because it's been so long since she felt like that she could even maybe smile, or even, because you see how nasty, Leticia is, that I'm sure Harley had to act a lot like that around her and feel a lot of the same feelings that Leticia had for them, whether Harley felt that or not. And I really, really, really hope that things just are more settled, especially for Harley. I hope Landon and Al, somewhere along the line after she signed the proffer and agreed to testify or whatever, that there's some
measure of healing.
Yes. Something. Because not for nothing, Harley's life right now, she only has an option to try and get over this, which she never will. She can only hopefully get I guess the psychiatry help that she would need. I don't even know what that would be at this point. And she has no one. She has no one. She has no dad. She has no mom. She has no family. She's so young. I just hope she really, like you said earlier, Jen, she really takes this and has a beautiful, positive, happy life after all of this, and goes off and does great things and has her own beautiful babies and becomes an amazing mom.
I think Harley's going to need a lot of help to get out of not just the traumatic childhood, but there's also a lot of genetics that go along with that. And when a lot of people who are narcissists become narcissists, whether they want to be or not. And she's going to need a lot of help. I said this on that last live, and it's like, I do feel for Harley, but there are going to be traits that she can't get away from. And I think that to be the best human being that she can be, especially with the extreme narcissistic mother, sociopathic mother, whatever you want to diagnose her as from afar. I think that she's going to need a lot of help. And I don't know if Al or Landon would want to be around her knowing that she may have those traits like her mom does. And I don't mean that. No, I don't know any of these people personally. So it's just like, just thinking out loud. I'm just like, there's a lot of trauma in all of that.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like statistically, sorry, Michelle, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I was just, Grandma Bunny said that Al followed Harley out of court. I didn't know that. So that's.
Well, that's a good positive sign.
Yeah.
I'll say this, statistically speaking, even the best marriages don't survive the loss of a child. And so there's, you know, I don't know if they could ever reconcile in a way that would allow them to be family again, because I think for all three of them, really, being around each other would be a reminder of what happened.
For sure.
And so, yeah, I don't know.
I don't see them ever probably being family, but just maybe something to where Al.
Some measure like closure.
Yes. Yeah. So
you know, where Al could acknowledge, I don't blame you.
Yes.
I know that there wasn't anything that you could do. I mean, the truth of the matter is, people say we're in the long crime chat saying, well, you know, why didn't Harley talk to police? Well, she's a minor. And so, she, you know, if Leticia,
her all along the
exactly.
way.
And if Leticia is saying in the parking lot, now that's footage I would love to watch. It's her in the Marshall's parking lot.
I can't believe that never got out to the
I
public.
know.
The headlock moment was good enough.
People out there watching, you know that people in that community knew who it was.
Yes.
Yes. And I would just like to say something very quick. I'd just like to address the prosecutor if he should be listening. It would be my suggestion. You see how jumbled up we're getting about the details, because we forget everything once Leticia starts talking, because it's nothing but word salad and just poppycock for the next 10 hours. Yes. So if you could, at the end, really sum up the forensics for us and the timeline, and don't, like, if you're going to talk about like the cell phone data at some point and stuff like that, don't mix it in with any of the calls or interviews that Leticia gives, because we forget because of Leticia. You're familiar with her brand. So maybe separate those a little further out.
Yep.
Too much.
It is, man. That's a lot. Oh.
Okay.
I like how I pretend that I'm on, like these people would ever listen or take my advice.
I hope they do. I actually hope they do listen, and I hope they do take it. I do.
And I'll tell you, the jury is very focused on that suitcase as well.
Yes.
Because they asked Harley about it, and they asked Dakota about it. Yep. And I think that, you know, Harley was getting like a lot of shit in the chats because she didn't smell anything. Well, Dakota was right up on that suitcase. He was in the back of the first van, and he didn't smell it either. Nope. She did something to keep it from smelling. Yeah. I don't know what she did. And the sad fact, I said this before, we are never, ever, unless and even if Leticia did say what she did, I don't think any of us would be 100% believing her, because she's a whole lying liar, mouth who tells lies. But I don't think we're ever going to know what everything that Gannon experienced that day, because of Leticia's actions, what she did after the fact to prevent herself from being caught. And in my opinion, she should have to pay for that every day for the rest of her life in whatever way the universe sees fit.
Boom, Jen. Boom.
But while in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So some are talking about like that Gannon was frozen, and I get that. I get that that it was very cold. I know we talked about this a little bit on the last live too. I still have, even if that's the case, she talks about how she's running, that Letitia was running the air conditioner the whole drive. But if you look at the weather, like in Texas, it was only like 21 degrees. So there's still questions, whether it's a question of smell or why are we running an air conditioner when it's 21 degrees outside. There's questions along the way that still don't make sense, that Harley wouldn't have been even thinking to herself, whether it's the smell, whether it's the air, like things aren't normal. So they take this long old drive. They don't ever get anything out of the back. They don't ever take a suitcase into the hotels. They don't ever shower. They don't change their underwear.
Thank you. So let me ask you this. They're rolling across the country unbathed for days. Now, I understand that obviously that one smell is not equal to the other. I get that.
Right.
But are you really going to,
but Harley wouldn't really be able to identify that smell. So as she's thinking that she may smell funky and her mother may smell funky and God knows what else she is thinking.
And the dogs are panting because you know how they be in a car, you know.
Let's say they went to the bathroom or something like
English bulldogs are notoriously gassy. This is just facts.
Yep. I don't think Harley would be able to say, like, the most she'd be able to say, what is that awful smell? And Letitia could be like, well, the windows are down with the air on and it's a skunk.
Right. Or anything, whatever it would be, would turn into a 10-hour dissertation that had nothing to do with a smell in the end.
Exactly. And Harley.
So I think Harley knew how to handle her mom.
I agree.
And let's be honest, I did, and I have to retract this because I did feel some type of way about Harley crying and then being able to switch it off just like that. And she did. But I've been thinking about that. And I realize now that I do think that there's an element of Leticia in her. Her mother raised her. It is what it is. Oh, I have elements of my mom even elements of my mom that I said I wouldn't have, I have.
Yes.
You can't help it. I woke up one day and I even my dad too. I was lecturing the kids the other day about a dishwasher not being for cleaning the dishes. It's for sanitizing the dishes. My dad used to say that to us.
Yep, we are a combination of all of them, whether we like it or not.
Exactly. Despite my rebel nature, it has it has taken hold for some reason or another. And I'm a little taken aback myself. But I also think that there is an element to Leticia that, if you notice, nobody can have any emotions around Leticia because everything is all about her all the time.
Everything.
Al is grieving the potential, even if he I think in the beginning, he might have actually believed Leticia for a second. And here he is thinking that his child is out there somewhere in the world and God knows who he's with or what's happening to him. Then on the other hand, he has to be thinking, okay, Leticia might have done something to him. Who knows what, you know what I'm saying? Either way, it's a screwed up position for him to be in as a dad. And Leticia has she doesn't give a rat's fat kneecap about that.
Nope.
It's about her.
Yep.
These people aren't treating me right. I mean, look, she clocked a woman in the face with a can of Monster and flipped it and said that the woman was threatening her. Yep. I don't know about y'all, but I did not hear a peep out of that officer the entire time that leading up to those events. None.
She could have headlocked her a hell of a lot harder than she did, because I know I would have, and she didn't. I still think that headlock was completely appropriate. And
there were points when Leticia was off camera, as she was exiting the vehicle to be transferred to another vehicle, and if it had been me, she would have accidentally on purpose fell a couple of times.
When that detective's elbow was covering the cam right there, that might have been a moment for me, for this girl.
This is a good point Mr. E makes. It's like 100% Harley at least knew her mom was lying. And she does confirm that when she's on the stand talking about that interview, that she knew that her mom was lying and being like odd about things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that never have I thought Harley was actually involved in the actual murder or the actual cleanup.
Me either.
Yep,
after the fact. And then 8675309 makes another good point. Like we do see biological fluids. So we know that the suitcase is not completely frozen, which would mean that he's not completely frozen. But like I said before, she probably, and this is obviously, we don't know Harley. And I want to make sure that we all understand, like, we don't know these people. We don't know them. We're not friends with them. We don't talk to them. We don't know how they even deal with things. And Harley's tough because Harley's never spoke. like you don't hear any interviews with her. So you see a little bit of her on TikTok where she's like wants to be an influencer and whatnot, but we don't know her personality or how she deals with life. Does that make sense? Like,
Yep.
Exactly. We have no idea the inner workings of Harley at all.
Right.
Nothing.
We do know we've got a clear insight on the inner workings of Letitia.
Oh yes, because Letitia puts her brand on Front Street.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm never going to be solid on Harley, but I will always go back to the fact that she was 17. Her mom is a narcissistic sociopath, crazy, whatever you want to call her, not legally insane. I always have to preface that now. I don't know what she really knew. I don't know how much she wanted to cover for her mom or how much she was afraid of her mom. Those are things I don't know if we'll ever actually know. We'll all just be able to assume our own thoughts on it because she's never going to come out in years and be like, oh yeah, I totally knew the guy was in the back of the car the whole time. She's not going to do that.
Yeah, I think she thought something was up, right? But there is, and I think every human being in this chat right now can identify with this. We've all been in a situation, right? Probably not to this extent, but some situation where your gut was telling you something was wrong and you knew it was wrong, but you didn't want to know how wrong it was. And I think that's where it was for Harley. I think she knew something was very bad wrong. Yeah. I also think that she, what could she really have done? Mainly. And I almost feel like she might be similar to Kat Millender from Castle Dazzle, because Kat Millender unwittingly cleaned a crime scene. She didn't know. She brought the cleaning supplies over, and she helped a little bit.
Yep. And who's to say at 17 she knows what a dead body smells like? Some of us have never experienced that at all.
That there's a smell that's not a normal.
No doubt there's a smell, but even a 17-year-old, I don't know if in that moment they go,
it's not like
right
a
to dead body.
Or somebody farted or, the dog pooped in the car. Like, it's a smell. It's a smell.
No, I've smelled one. I know. I'm just saying.
But 17 I think she just I think she put a whole bunch of baking soda in. Remember, there are points throughout this whole time period we don't know, and neither is law enforcement, where Leticia Samara Stalk was at. They weren't tracking her all the time.
Yeah.
So she had plenty of time and plenty alone time to do things, and we don't know what she did.
Yeah. My final thought on Harley, and I'll just leave it at that, is that, like I said, I don't think it matters at this point. I think that she has a long life ahead of her, and I do wish her nothing but the best. Because even if she did know, I don't know what her doing anything at that moment would have changed, looking at it from the perspective now of what we know about Letitia since this trial and what we knew about her even before the trial. So right. I lean more towards no fault and more pity. I'm not sold that she didn't know, but I find it's irrelevant. If she did know, it doesn't change anything at this point. Is where I'm at.
I agree.
Right. It wouldn't have stopped anything. It wouldn't have changed anything. What could she really have done?
Right.
Harley,
and then I don't know who said it up here, but somebody was like, "Yeah, if I thought my mom, or here it is, Jeanette said it. If I was suspicious my mother had killed a child, I might be terrified that she would do the same to me." So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
There's 100 different ways to go at it. My advice is Harley is it's the same concept I have about Al and Landon. I do feel like there's a lot of people who made a lot of mistakes, but there's only one person who actually is the monster who committed this crime. And
correct.
And none of those other things would have stopped or prevented her from doing it, in my opinion.
Correct. Yep. Correct. Just like with Melanie Gibb. I can't stand her. Now, y'all know I don't have no love for no Melanie Shebangs Gibbs. None.
Nope.
And I do know that what she did ultimately was buy time. I don't actually and can't actually say if she would have been honest in that moment, if it would have changed anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if she could have stopped things. But what I do know is we'll never know because she didn't. She didn't even try. And she knew Lori was lying.
Yep.
She knew she was. She knew she was.
Well,
And I'm telling you right now, if not for David, what? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you look at the situation with Colby, his mom moved somewhere. It's his only family the guy has is his mom. There is no other family for Colby. Besides, he's got a wife, and then he ends up having a kid with her, and then another kid later. But his only family is his mom and his little sister and brother. His mom takes his sister and brother and picks them up and moves and doesn't tell him where they're going. He has all these emails from Charles talking about that the mom is losing her mind, and he knows something's off, and yet he doesn't do anything because he knows his mom is just off. And you're talking about somebody who was 24 at the time, 24 at the time versus somebody who's 17. It's just like, well, that's just mom. She's just, fucking doing whatever mom does because she's just weird. And so mom moves away with my brother and sister. I can't contact them. Nobody's responding to me. I even have the gut instinct that my sister's not the one that's actually texting me. And yet I still don't do anything. And this is an older person.
Because what could he really do? Even if he would have, look what Kay and Larry were doing, everything that could be done. They alerted the authorities.
You don't think your mom is going to go and kill your brother or your sister?
Exactly. No, exactly right. I mean, I think I'll say this. I cannot remember who it was that testified and said this, or where I even heard it, even if it was actually even testimony. I think it might have been maybe an interview or so. Oh, no. It was Heather. She, Chad's sister-in-law. Mm-hmm. She said that all of the sudden, Lori was around this group of people, but there was a core group that was always around, and that was Melanie, Chad, Alex, Zulema, and a couple of other people that I can't remember right offhand. And I think that what could Colby have? What could he have even done, really? And nobody thought in a million years that Lori would do something like this. So I agree with you, Teresa. I think we got to cut these people some slack. We know how the story ends, and now they do too. But in the moment, they didn't know any of this stuff. And look at Lori. I mean, Lori was doing all the things. Kay and Larry were sending out welfare checks. The first people that got to the cops that showed up at the apartments in Rexburg already had Chad and Alex, when they're asked about JJ and Tylee, look at each other and then they answer. And they had a weird look. And Alex says, well, they're with Kay. And the officer says, no, they're not, because she's the person who called the welfare check. Then they look at each other again. But at that moment, I mean, hell, a court ordered Lori to produce those children. And she didn't even show up for court. She didn't care about that. It's just terrible. She's just both of them.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about of both of these women. I do believe have some mental health issues, immense mental health issues, and that probably went untreated for a very long time. Do I think that either one of them are insane or crazy in the aspect of type of legally? Obviously, Melanie can't do that. Idaho doesn't have not guilty by reason of insanity, but I think if it did, she would be going that route, or her attorneys would have wanted her to. I think for me,
she doesn't qualify for it either. I don't think she was legally insane either, even if it was an option.
The biggest thing that we can see is knowing these types of situations and knowing what the outcomes are potentially. And I know that people give me a really hard time in my life because I think I'm a little overcautious. But when I see a little bit of a red flag, I'm like, I get awkward about it. I'm not really comfortable with that. And it's probably because of all of this, but I think that people have to be more cognizant and be able to say hey, Mom, it's weird that you're taking my brother and sister and you're not telling me where you are. I agree.
Yeah.
But we've got it. That's a red flag. There's weird things like that's not normal behavior.
I think as a society, we have to find the balance between minding our own business and seeing something and saying something. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I do think that, like, there's been times there was a kidnapped girl at a restaurant, and the waitress knew something was wrong, and she slipped a note to the kid, and yeah, sure enough, and she was saved. Do you know what I mean? But I think when it comes to people in our own circles, the people that we're the closest to, I think we have to acknowledge that when we see red flags in people, especially when they're our family members, not to ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a reason we're seeing a red flag, especially your family. You know your family the best.
And I do believe that we see a lot more because of being interested in the community that we're interested in the things that happen in this community and in true crime, and people who aren't paying attention to that kind of stuff, they don't necessarily see them. So it's about like, hey, Jen, you just told me that you haven't talked to your mom in 3 months and you don't know where your brother and sister are. That's weird. So it's not even just like it's kind of sharing like that. There's something off with that, and not just letting people just go do whatever the hell they want to do and not have any accountability for it.
Exactly, especially when kids are involved. Although I have to say, what was that term that the FBI pattern of violence? Is that what he used? Is that the term he used? Pathway to violence. That's what it was. Pathway to violence, and said that, and they were arguing about lay people wouldn't normally use that term. Hello, I'm lay, and I would use that term.
Yeah.
I object.
It's a pathway.
Because yes. Not today, I can't use it because I couldn't even remember what the term was, but tomorrow I'll remember it and use it in a sentence correctly, I promise.
You'll get it. I have to wrap things up, though, because I have to head to my nephew's birthday party who turns 10 today. Otherwise, I could just stay and hang out with you guys all night.
Is it at a trampoline park again?
No.
Oh.
No, it's like a water.
Even better.
I know. Like,
put those two together, water and trampoline park. Yes, I'd go.
But I mean, like I said, these two women, we didn't even cover even half of what my thoughts on Lori, so we could absolutely do this, again too.
We have a long way to go too. We have, if you guys think of in terms of the trial, what's come out so far, we have barely, we're not even at the tip of the iceberg. We're not even at the iceberg yet. We're approaching the iceberg at this point. We're not even close to it yet.
This one's supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks for Letitia Stout. And what are we finish week 3? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, we're on week 3.
Okay, and then Lori's supposed to be the same, 6 to 8 weeks. And we just finished week 1, 2?
2. We're on the second. This is the second week.
Okay. Are we only on week 3 of Letitia? It only started a week before? Maybe.
Yeah.
And then
March 20th.
And then West is also supposed to last until approximately June.
Oh my God.
And then we got Boone. No. Yes. Boone is in July. Is she June or July?
I thought Boone was June.
July 25th.
Okay.
July 25th. That's right. And we have Koberger's preliminary hearing coming up in June too.
Oh, yep. Yes.
And there's some other trials that are coming up. Courtney Clenny.
Oh yeah. There's a whole
bunch.
Mary Maletti. We've got what's his name for oh my gosh, why can't I think?
Yeah.
Michelle, you know who I'm talking about.
You said Larry Malete, right?
I did. And then the other one that's on my birthday.
Oh, we have Harmony Amari's on your birthday.
Amari.
Mm-hmm. Harmony Montgomery in August.
Yeah.
So it's a busy year for trials. So
it is. It is.
And the court system caught up from everything that happened with the pandemic. So it'll be.
Yep.
We'll be busy back to back with trials, but it's hard because then there's still all these other cases. And I don't know if you guys are following the Oakley Snow case, I try to keep up with it. I've not been able to dig too deep into it, but it's they found remains and they don't know if it might be hers.
Yep.
I know. I saw. That's the last thing I saw. I keep up with it through Allie because I can't cover the trials and cover a open case.
Yeah.
It's too much for me.
I have too much on my plate right now as it is. So definitely, I can't. That's why I've been trying to like pay attention to what's going on, but I don't have any details for it.
I think they're going to release Monday at 11 a.m. They're having a presser for Oakley.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
11 a.m. our time, Michelle, or 11. Well, yeah, if you said 11, it's our time, right?
Yeah. Maybe 11 my time. And then just for Monkey, there was a little update. They dropped the charges on Sandra Wunder, but it's just because we are all praying and hoping to believe that they have something bigger and they're letting this go for that reason. So I don't know if anybody caught that update or not, but it just popped up for me. If anybody follows the Michael Vaughn case.
That's the other one I've been keeping an eye on.
Yeah. He's from Idaho. He's from Fruitland, right? He's from Fruitland.
Amari Nicholson.
Amari's from Las Vegas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be Terrell Rhodes' trial.
We also have Samuel.
Yeah, Samuel.
Yep.
Too.
Cousin Eddie made bail.
Ooh.
Cousin Eddie made bail. Yeah. Allie, that's what they said. The West trial is going to go till June. And it wouldn't surprise me only because of the fact that trial is so slow. The other two trials are ahead of schedule, but that West trial, the boys' trial is so slow. So unless something starts to pick up, it could go till June. No, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Allie, for popping up when you came up. Thank you, Jen, for being here and discussing all the things and
making us laugh.
You will all be happy to know. You're very welcome. Everybody will be happy to know that I have found the way to recover the passcode.
You did.
I contacted Dr. B, yes, and she's like, Jen, because she did. She completely factory reset the iPad. So I did put a code in. I just have no fucking clue what that code is. However, I am a resourceful woman. And I figured it out, and I can do it from the computer and just reset it and do it just start all over again.
There you go. Do it.
Jen.
And this time I'm going to fucking remember it.
Thank you
Remember
all.
that fucking code, Jen.
And then Jen, are you doing the roast tomorrow? Is that still on schedule?
Yes, that is on schedule. I'm going to be going over the chest pains portion of the interrogation.
The chest pains portion.
I'm skipping over the Eduardo story because it's frankly, I'm not going to play a lie about an essay. I find it disgusting and despicable that she would lie about something like that. Essay victims, and not even just women, all essay victims have always had to overcome. The burden of proof has always been on the victim. Yes. And I'm not going to give her one iota of airplay on my channel for that part of it. We've all heard it. We all know what she says. We all know it's a big fat lie. So I'm not even going to bother with that part. I'm skipping straight to the chest pains.
Straight to the chest pain.
Okay, tomorrow night on the word case studies, her channel is linked in the description and on the title of this live, so you guys can find her pretty easily. If you're not subscribed, make sure you go subscribe. And then the roast will be tomorrow night, which is where I'll be hanging out in the chat. So
I'll drop Jen Lou's channel now in chat if you guys want to go.
Oh, thank you guys. They're so sweet.
I don't have access to that right this second, but I appreciate you all and everybody in chat. I always tell you guys, you have thousands of places that you could spend your time and other people that you could be watching right now. And I appreciate that you come and you hang out here with us. You guys being here it means more to me than I can even ever express to every one of you. And all of you who joined, welcome to the membership. I appreciate you guys, all of you.
Yes. We love you lots. Thank you.
I will talk to you guys sometime soon. I'll see you guys in chat soon. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.